We are halfway through the level 130 tier of quests, having just been juked by a Mew and instead had to settle for Fern. The rest of this tier of quests will be completed this episode. Theme teams, please help me delay the inevitable. They will do so less than usual, as we are only going over 8 teams today across 2 characters. Those 2 characters are tied quite closely together, by way of the former leader of Meteor. The first we will battle is that leader's son, Taka. So I actually lied again. I remembered 4 theme team names, not 3 like I said last time, because Taka's first team is called Stack Ataka. Can you guess what this battle on Short Circuit Field is going to pit us against? That's right, 6 Stock Ataka. Okay, so the goal is, do not let them use Trick Room. Objective failed immediately. Heatwave from Houndoom missed 1 and the other didn't die to an additional Blizzard hit from Vanillix. One of the Ultra Beasts hits us with Rock Slide, killing Houndoom, and the other indeed used Trick Room. Not even Slowbro can go before them, as she and Vanillix are pummeled by Rock Slides. Vanillix faints, Slowbro flinches. The next 2 turns are just the same, as Drampa comes in while Slowbro faints, but Drampa flinched. Mawile came in to kill one Staka with Sucker Punch, but Drampa flinched yet again, then died to Hail. Then lastly, Camerup came out, Mawile can't beat another with Sucker Punch, and Earthquake finishes us off. So let's try again and make sure we are hitting weaknesses early. Seeing as how they use Seeds to levitate, fighting types are the play, with Heracross and Hariyama going out. I have the feeling that Trick Rooming Stakataka has a Focus Sash, so I fake it out while Heracross clobbers the left one to knock it out right away. Staka 3 shows up, and 2 stacks of bricks collapse to 2 close combats. And that's literally how I win the rest of the fight. Now let's try a real team with some thought, like Light My Fire. This is another doubles fight, but on Burning Field with a Minior and Aerodactyl ahead of me. Houndoom is not great for that, hitting them with Heat Wave for about a third before fainting, while Slowbro, a much better Pokemon to deal with them and Burning Field, flinched to Rock Slide. The next turn sees Camerup get slammed down by the same 2 moves, but Slowbro avoided Rock Slide this time to put up Trick Room. Vanillix comes out to help Slowbro knock down the Flyers, but she doesn't need it this turn. Both of them feint to Surf, taking the Burning Field with them. Vanillix is now a bit out of place against Ho-Oh and Victini. He does what he can to help when Slowbro also can't kill them with Surf, and they are both nearly dead. But my Pokemon are fully dead. Now I'm down to my last 2, who will have to beat twice as many opponents to win. At that low HP though, Hyper Voice would have gotten them anyway, never mind adding a Sucker Punch. Taka's last 2 come out, a potential tribute to one of his lost friends in Meteor, Delphox, and Talonflame. That one scares me with the thought of having Gale Wings, but it actually didn't. Better, Sucker Punch goes ahead and knocks out Delphox. Hyper Voice left Talonflame on a single hit point, and as long as it can't hit both of us, then we win. It used Acrobatics, so we somehow won that disaster in 1 try. Taka thought we went to the top of the mountain as champion, and I guess he wanted to see the view from up here too. Naturally, this is a mountain-based fight, but 2 of the same Pokemon from last battle are back, Ho-Oh and Aerodactyl. Once again in doubles, I know there's no reason to try attacking with Houndoom, so Destiny Bond goes out. My turn is rewarded so precisely because of it. Aerodactyl used Tailwind, and Ho-Oh killed Houndoom with Ancient Power. Trick Room activating against a Tailwind is always sweet. I want to think that Vanillix about to make the mountain snowy is GG for me, except we then get faced with another fire type, Charizard. And worse, it Mega Y-evolves, activating Sun over my Hail, which both cuts Surf's power from Slowbro, and Blizzard is back to 70% accuracy. Surf doesn't kill either opponent, so it's up to Vanillix. And what does he do? He hits both 70% and kills both of them. Then comes out Zapdos and Cradily. It's a good thing that strong winds are gone, so Blizzard can hurt them. Of course, after an underwhelming Surf, it will require 2 more Blizzard hits. They are both knocked out. The final Pokemon from Taka is Cradily, and this time, Blizzard does miss, so we get hit by Rock Slide. As if there was any doubt, the Clutch Master just survives that, and then hits the final Blizzard to win the fight. 5 out of 6 Blizzards at regular accuracy. Yet again, Vanillix's place in this series is uncontested. This leaves us with one final team from Taka, Legacy. What comes out first on Dragon's Den should clue you in really fast why that team is named that way. Garchomp and Ribombee, both for his father and grandfather. But another kind of legacy is honored here, and that is of a Houndoom using Destiny Bond and killing a Garchomp with it. That's what happens first turn while Ribombee quiver danced while Trick Room began. Next out from Taka is an Aegis... I would ask why, but... We need to address the issue of the field effect now. I seemingly have no way to remove Dragon's Den, which can bode really badly. However, I discover, thanks to Drampa, that I have one way to dismantle it. 2 Surfs. It does very little damage to the 2 opponents, cooling off the field to a cave. Drampa nearly faints to a Sacred Sword, while Slowbro does faint to Pollen Puff. The next turn, though, is extremely annoying. I know that Aegislash is going to King Shield because it can't Shadow Sneak Drampa. But what sucks is that Drampa doesn't have a good move for Ribombee, except Hyper Voice, and what's worse is that when he kills it with that move, he faints to Life Orb, and Mawile rammed into the King Shield and lost 2 attack stages. Another of Solaris' team hits the field now, Tyranitar, and after Camerupt wasn't able to kill Aegislash with an Earth Power, he's ganged up on by Taka's Pokemon and faints. Mawile took the turn to undo the attack loss with a Swords Dance. However, I'm up against these two with Mawile and Vanillix left, which is really not good. It's really not good because it's actually fucking great! After Ironhead kills Tyranitar, Aegislash goes first and hits Vanillix with Sacred Sword, and the Clutch fucking Master survived it to kill with Blizzard. Now Taka's last 2 are 2 others his grandfather used. One of them his own, Lucario and Chatot. In a very unfortunate turn, as Lucario Mega Evolves, Mawile missed Play Rough while Vanillix snows out the bird, but only does less than half to Lucario, who pays him back with Meteor Mash. But the second time she tries to hit Play Rough, it hits and beats Lucario to give me a 3rd straight first try, which yet again had no business being so. Nutty fights. So he defeated the 4 theme teams of the Son of Solaris. And now he must face the 4 theme teams of the Servant of Solaris. One of the 2 remaining Elite 4 members, Elias. Elias has committed sacrilege, as he now uses a false god. In fact, he uses 6 of them. Here we go with the Ditto fight. Houndoom meets Dittodoom first, and boy is that a stalemate if I've ever seen one. The only thing either of us are hitting the other with is Dark Pulse, which is weakened on Holyfield. However, I take a guess that this Ditto, and maybe all of them, are holding Choice Scarves, so when I see it use Dark Pulse, I switch to Mawile. It was definitely choiced, as it only used another Dark Pulse and didn't get a flinch, so it was beaten by Play Rough. Now I think I have a funny loop to exploit. I go to Drampa next, and Dittopah is out. I switch back to Mawile and try to go for Play Rough. Unfortunately, Elias is smarter than that, and pulled Dittopah for Dittowile. It didn't even matter because Play Rough missed again. I don't like my chances switching to anything, so Mawile is taken down by Dittowile's Iron Head. When I try to use Houndoom against it now, Elias once again switches and Houndoom's Flamethrower is eaten by Dittodoom's Flash Fire. This stupid switching charade is going to keep happening. Heracross comes in to see Dittodoom use Dark Pulse again, then bounce to welcome Dittocross. That one, though, takes a large hit from close combat. I really don't want to lose Heracross, though, which is likely since she's down defense, so I go to Hariyama. He's given a huge reprieve, though, as Stone Edge missed him. Another switch from Elias presents me with Dittoyama, who loses a 3rd to a Fake Out. Time to switch again into Slowbro, who also takes a fake out. And then, in the dumbest thing I can imagine, at the time I did this fight, Slowbro did not have Psychic. However, it was okay, as this time Dittoyama stayed, even though I don't see why. It was choiced onto Fake Out, but just died to Surf instead. I decide to leave Slowbro there for Dittobro, with the intent to switch to Heracross. She has to take a hard Surf on the way in, but survives, and Dittobro stayed still for a Mega Horn to one-shot. Now a very low HP Dittobro is here, and I let Slowbro take it down with Shadow Ball. The 5th Ditto is up now, again Dittobro, and I try using Slowbro's Shadow Balls against it. It turns out, even on Holyfield nerfing ghost attacks, that's still pretty decent. But Elias doesn't like it, and switches into... That's not a Ditto, that's a Mew! It uses Genesis Supernova, changing the field to Psychic terrain instead, but Slowbro lived to hit it with a stronger Shadow Ball. Slowbro faints afterwards though, and Houndoom must come in to beat the Mythical that we played with last time. That leaves one more Ditto. I decide to make it Ditto Cross since Heracross is low on HP, which will leave it an easy target for Houndoom, except that it missed Mega Horn. But then I missed Stone Edge. But then it missed Mega Horn! Stone Edge kills it! What the fuck was that fight? Total clusterfuck, but I won it in one try. Thank God. Now let's hope I never have to fight against a team of doppelgangers again. Have the fights been too easy? Have I become overconfident? Well, there are natural consequences for that. It seems even in theme teams, the Holy Man cannot abstain from Holyfield. But why should he? You'll learn soon why this team is named Natural Consequences. To start though, he sends out Xerneas, and Houndoom has no prayer except to the Bond. He's blasted by Hyper Voice, and our openers both fall. Slowbro is then met by Drampa, and boy did I pivot off Trick Room quick. Too bad I didn't have an ice move. I needed it badly because it allowed Drampa to then attack Hariyama next with the reason for the team name, Nature Power, which on Holyfield becomes Judgment. Hariyama is annihilated. Heracross comes in and avenges her fellow fighting type, only to be coming up against Celebi next. I want to Trick Room now, so I go back to Slowbro. However, she's slapped with a U-turn as Elias now sends out Xurkitree instead. I'm glad I'm Trick Rooming right now. A flamethrower from Slowbro doesn't kill, Slowbro faints to Wrath, Drampa screams, and Xurkitree dies. But I've never wanted Camerupt in a fight so much as I do now. Next is Heatran. It wasn't floating on a balloon either, but it was slower than Heracross, so she is judged away. Sadly, Mawile's Brick Break was not enough to kill Heatran, and when Drampa finished it off, Celebi returned to survive a Hyper Voice. Once more judgment rains down upon me. This was a very bad fight for me. Elias having his usual Drampa is a major issue, as it precludes me using Trick Room early. What's even worse is that Nature Power is classified as a status move, so Sucker Punch from Mawile fails. Elias quickly got to 6 attempts, as I did go and get Camerupt along with Bastiodon. Destiny Bond for Xerneas, and when I send out Bastiodon, he survives decently against Heatran to Metal Burst it back to kill it. Celebi is my cue for Slowbro, but yet again, I take a U-turn in Trick Room, and I never put Ice Beam on Slowbro! She was actually slower than Drampa, so it was totally worth it, but instead Slowbro faints. My Drampa wastes Elias's, then hits Celebi with Flamethrower but doesn't kill. Judgment comes down to him. But he stands! Now he's mad. Celebi dies to Flamethrower, but sadly my Berserker faints to Life Orb. Throwing Bastiodon back out there gets out Elias's last Pokemon, Shaman. I make a really dumb play and Metal Burst instead of getting free damage with Iron Head. Then like the attempt before this one, Camerupt came out and used Lava Plume, and Shaman lived with 1 pixel. It got burned this time though, so when Camerupt died to Judging, the Shaman fell over too. This leaves me with an Ultra Beast against Mawile. And right when I needed it most, Playrough actually hit it and knocked it out. Thank goodness. That was awful. mostly from my side playing poorly. But it's not going to get any better on the next fight. Dabbling in distortion. Now don't worry, that's not glitch field. It's inverse. I'm still angry. Once again we have to fight a normal type trainer on inverse, one of the worst things on the leaderboard already. And first up is Noivern. So importantly, Houndoom outspeeds to Destiny Bond it. But Mawile coming up against Garchomp on inverse is pretty bad, especially when it used a Seed to Quint boost for the cost of a recharge turn. One Iron Head isn't close to killing, and she's Dragon Clawed down. Camerupt somehow lived that attack himself, but his Lava Plume is barely not enough for a kill either. He faints, Slowbro manages to Trick Room and take out the Garchomp, but once again Elias brought his Drampa here. I make the foolish play of using my Drampa and attacking with Hyper Voice when he had currently super effective Flamethrower. As such, his Drampa gets angry, Thunderbolts mine, and must be beaten by Slowbro's Surf. Aria Meloetta is next, which Slowbro cannot get on her own. Vanillux arrives, the best type of inverse field, but his Blizzard again leaves Meloetta with 1 HP, so he takes a huge Psy Shock before the mythical faints to Hail. With only 1 scoop of Vanillux, I'm next faced the worst thing to see on inverse. Porygon Z. It survives Blizzard and kills Vanillux with Ice Beam. This fight was evil. Using Destiny Bond made me have to send out a Pokemon that Elias got to react to, and my god, did he cover everything I had. I was constantly on the back foot, and things just wouldn't die when I desperately needed them to. This fight now surpasses the previous one, going to 7 attempts. Noivern still dies to Houndoom, but after a few attempts I suddenly realized Houndoom is advantaged here. His Flamethrower is actually a one-shot. Awesome! I was now sending out Camerupt to get presented with Garchomp, but even with the free turn to use Inferno Overdrive on it to hit weakness, it still lives through it. Mawile punches the dragon, then the menace Porygon Z is out. I go to Slowbro, who is just able to survive an Ice Beam to Trick Room, and then can kill the dubious Pokemon with Shadow Ball. She stays for Drampa, and does not quite half with Shadow Ball before fainting. Drampa Ditto results in mine winning, then I send Mawile back out for Meloetta. I don't have anything it's weak to, but it doesn't have great defense, so I slam it with Iron Head to nearly kill it. Its Hyper Voice overwhelms Mawile, but Vanillux wins over it. But this led to the last Pokemon on Elias's team, one that was another huge problem. Mega Kangaskhan. I had been saving Houndoom to Destiny Bond that once Trick Room gave up, but when I sent out Drampa, it used the 1-2 Sucker Punch on him, only for Drampa to survive and then just win the fight with Shadow Ball. It took a lot of effort to find a way to win that one, but in the end it actually doesn't look as bad. I still hated it. And of course Elias had to cap it off with one more fight on a killing field. And he also saw fit to steal his Nemesis's signature field in Who's the Grandmaster Now? Yep, time to play chess again. His opening move is 10% Zygarde and Garchomp. I got my Shedinja ready for this shit already to join Slowbro. However, they saw Shedinja and immediately said, nope, fuck this field. Zygarde's stomping tantrum flips the board over, hurting Slowbro, while Garchomp then unleashed Tectonic Rage to make super duper sure chessboard died, along with Slowbro. Leech Life did half to Zygarde, then Mawile came in trying to go for Garchomp. I'm not sure what I thought would happen, as without Trick Room, Stomping Tantrum and Iron Head beat her down first. A second Leech Life removes Zydog to be replaced with Pyroar. Now Shedinja is doomed. Regrettably, Heracross went with it thanks to Heat Wave and Garchomp's Dragon Claw both going before her. Playing out the whole fight proved fruitless as Drampa never attacks and Houndoom beats Pyroar with 2 Dark Pulses before fainting to Garchomp. Knowing they're going to want to blow up the chessboard with ground moves, I put an air balloon on Slowbro just so that she can't be hit by both of those. Zygarde smashed the table, but Slowbro only took damage from a Dragon Claw, and Trick Room turns on. While Shedinja was killing Zygarde again, Garchomp nailed Slowbro with Tech Rage, but she survived it this time, having hit Garchomp with a small Psychic. Now out though, playing right into Slowbro, is Como-O. It's tough though, only losing half to Psychic as Slowbro is taken out. However, Shedinja is still here screwing with them. The next turn though, Shedinja is Fire Punched out, while Mawile tied Garchomp into a pretzel. Drampa arrives to Pyroar, my dragon uses Dragon Pulse to kill Como-O, and Mawile Brick breaks Pyroar for a one-shot. Trick Room has already left though thanks to no Amplifield, and I must still defeat Tapu Bulu and Sawsbuck. Drampa didn't get to burn up the buck with Flamethrower, fainting to the Tapu's superpower, but stomping Tantrum from the Elk leaves Mawile alive to Ironhead Bulu right to the grassy floor it created. Sawsbuck attempted to beat Mawile with another Tantrum, but fails to kill, and its Focus Sash only prolonged the battle by about 3 seconds. A fight that started on chessboard, but was pretty much anything but chessboard. No wonder it only took 2 tries. With that, the theme teams for this episode are done, and we take a look at the leaderboard. For the first time, a character has 2 teams on the leaderboard, though Elias almost knocked his own fight off with the other. At the same time, the Madman Witten created 2 3-way ties. Elias joins Amaria and Hardy by dabbling in Distortion at 7 attempts, and also ties Noel and Sarah with Natural Consequences at 6. Radimus still looks down upon them, Elias shaking his fist to the sky. Pavilion time. Who's gonna meet us? It's fucking Santiago. Oh shit, him leading with a Sylveon to Greninja isn't good. Its bulk is far too much for him to get through, fainting to 3 Swifts. Aegislash can arrive to take it out with Iron Head after, but she took a hard Shadow Ball beforehand. Then comes Azumarill. I then mess up horribly and use King Shield while it belly drummed. My chance to beat it was squandered when I knew it would do that. But when I punt to Destiny Bond, which goes second, I discover that even with 6 attack stages, Aqua Jet still didn't kill Aegislash, so the second Aqua Jet drags down the Azumarill. Unfortunately, I'm now heads up against his last Pokemon with Talonflame left. And the fucking Pokemon he sends out is Jirachi. Of course it resists flying. Talonflame still managed to go first with Flare Blitz, but didn't kill. And Psychic answers to bring down my last Pokemon. I lost to fucking Santiago. Oh well, that won't be nearly the worst loss today. The first quest we go to undertake today will take us back to the place most associated with the Elite Four member we just battled. Sub-7 Sanctum. We must return to the maze we escaped from in episode 11 and head to the left side room, the one locked with the master key we got from Randall's Clef Key. Inside this room, along with a new world portal, is Luna. She says she resents that she must come back here after all that's happened, but she says she is beholden to this place. However, her expedition to this new world gate came swiftly to an end, when she discovered she was not able to pass through it. But seeing we have come, she asks that we may cross the threshold instead, saying we may find out what reasons there are for excluding her. Step into the portal now, but when you reach the other side, you'll feel like you did not go anywhere. We are in the same room, except there are now 2 of the New World cultists here. They are astonished by my arrival, asking me if I just came through Heaven's Gate. This is extremely strange. Who are these people? Why are there humans in the New World? Whoever they are suspicious of me directly and brand me an agent of chaos. They probably feel pretty validated in that thought when I send out a literal hellhound first turn. Now, I'm not going to recap the minor trainer fights in this place, even though some of them actually whomped me badly. This one, for instance, took 1 win off me, but it was only because I got scared off from using Trick Room because of Drampa. Upon their defeat, they are still unsure they should trust me. No matter what, they will want me to be questioned by Solaris. What? How? But without Pokemon to subdue me, how can they stop me? That's when they remember. The Holy Hand Grenade of Antidote. 1, 2, 5, 3, 3. When I come to, I think about my quest and my favorite color, then discover I'm in a cell. Nearby, 2 children are also locked in cells. What the hell? That's horrible. But they saw me be dragged here, and one of them calls out to me. I answer yes, as the closer child says I must be friendly, asking my name as the child gives me his name, Luca. It's when you hear Luca tell us the other boy's name that you know we are not in a regular New World zone. The farther boy is named Taka, the person that Luca is bound to serve until death. This Taka, much younger than the one we know, doesn't like Luca to say these things, but Luca says they're just true statements that give his life a purpose. As for why 2 children are in jail cells, it's because they were put there by their dads for trying to mess around with the statues looking for secret passages. Apparently they did this because all of the hallways just changed. Taka gets more worried Luca is telling all this to a bad guy, but the other boy responds that the only way to know is to find out. Then it won't be scary anymore. Am I a bad guy? Nope. Luca says it's settled then. At this point, the 2 children quiet down, as we regain control. Without a Klefki holding Randall, how are we getting out of this cell? Well, you'll find out that touching the statues as the boys were doing does something unexpected. You're suddenly rendered ethereal and can now walk through walls. Oh, okay. It only goes so far, as in, the power only lasts within a certain radius from the statue. Though specifically, it's from the spot you stood when you touched the statue. You can press the A key to return to the last statue you interacted with. You'll see that you'll need to do that frequently, as if you lose your new power while in the middle of a wall, your journey isn't going any farther. This lets you go and talk to Luca and Taka in person, the former asking if it would be possible to get into their cell. Doing so, Luca is startled, but realizes that Arceus must have given me the power through the statue. Luca touches the statue, then upon finding he is also transparent, walks through the wall, somehow gives Taka the power too, and the 2 children are freed. After some more rather whimsical comments, Luca observes that the statues don't normally do this, wondering then if the hallways changing shape are related. That's when Taka reveals that his father said a power is causing a distortion here. Luca wants to go check it out, using a key he stole to get through the door upstairs. Luca leaves as Taka thanks me and says that I'm probably not at fault for getting locked up, if I'm like the last lady. Which? Then Taka says if we want to escape, we'll need to find a switch of each of the expected colors. One of them is close by. Once Taka leaves, you can learn how close he meant. If you start going up the stairs, another hallway is visible on this floor. Use the right side statue to return to the left one, use that statue to recenter your anchor point, and head up into that hallway. Curl around a corner to the left, and find a blue Arceus statue to use. With that done, go back to the accessible statue to walk through a wall, or press A to go back to the last statue anyway. Walk up the stairs now to find a maze like in the real Sub 7, but not all the pathways connect. A doorway is accessible to the left that goes back to the room where the portal is, along with a light shard. But if you thought those statues were exempt from the strange phenomenon, touch one and head to the left. You'll find the red statue, marking this puzzle halfway done. The other half, though, is much trickier. Head over to this single statue you can reach, and start to plow through the spaces between the rooms. There are 2 things you need to know. First, like I said, the place you're standing determines the center of the radius, but sometimes that center doesn't allow you to move the number of spaces you need, either being too few or sometimes too many. The other important hint I can give is that you can activate a new statue even while still transparent from the earlier one. I didn't catch on to that myself for a bit, but it makes the pathfinding much easier. I started by going north to this statue, then into the longer hallway with a statue to the left. Climb north through some more walls until you bump into this acolyte. Dispensing with them, you'll discover there's nothing more to do over here. This is simply an exit from the rest of the maze. I started back over at the statue by the bookshelves and tried going south, leapfrogging between statues and orphaned rooms. Notice the purple trim on this one. It indicates that this will lead you eventually to the amethyst statue. Keep heading east until you see another cultist. Notice that your team is really beat after the previous one. Try to go get the light shard but find out there's no way back. Eat a bunch of healing items, then engage them, and then notice a very disconcerting sight to the northwest. After beating up the poor cultist and taking their money, you're going to learn why it is that you are in a world where a boy named Taka is young and a man named Solaris yet lives. Celebi isn't the only Pokemon with control over time. In the room besides this hallway is Dialga. So we then insinuate, of course, the reason why the space of this world is so mangled. But never mind that. Go get utterly destroyed by this next acolyte. No, seriously. This fucker here fights in doubles, and for some reason, I had the hardest time winning. I'm still not going to commentate them, but they have pretty much everything awful to fight. Jolteon, Lantern, Vaporeon, Washing Rotom, 2 electric water types, Mega Altaria, and Drampa. After that roadblock finally moves, you're going to discover that you don't get to enter the room with Dialga now. The statue at the end of this hallway does not reach down far enough to get to Dialga. It can only go left to where you came from, or up to this hallway. As soon as you attempt to walk around that corner though, the game is not shy to inform you that you recognize the voice that speaks in the room over. Indeed, thanks to Dialga, we seem to be in the past, when Taka was a boy and his father Solaris is alive. Taka is here too, as Solaris inquires if his studies are done. When Taka gives an answer of mostly, the same last lesson Solaris gave Taka in the real world is repeated here. Solaris chides Taka for giving half answers, the son not exuding nearly the confidence Solaris wants him to. He gives this lesson in very intimidating language, but at its core, Solaris is telling Taka not to believe he is weak, and resort to dishonesty as the weak would. Taka will only be taken seriously as the scion of this family and the future of Reborn if he acts assertively. Solaris now tells Taka to finish his studies completely, to which the son gives the same answer as we heard several times before. They leave now. Somehow, they'd have to walk right past me, but they don't. Anyway, activate the amethyst statue up ahead, and proceed back to the beginning of the puzzle. Go north, make use of the fact you can activate a new statue to reset your anchor point, and use it to go left to this statue at the left side of the middle hallway. Go north across the hallway to the one after it, the walls of which are adorned with green trim. Use that statue to cross over by the earlier cultist hallway to another island of room, then go left once more. It's at the end of this hallway that has that same 45-degree angle that we get more dialogue. This time, we hear a voice that we also recognize, which belongs to a man who is still alive, Elias. He speaks to Luca, asking why he got out of timeout already. Luca responds astutely about having time to reflect on his actions, saying that he and Taka were sorry for their childishness. Elias is satisfied with Luca's answer, saying there are things that must be learned directly, not through books or word of mouth. Elias is pleased at Luca's maturity, believing he will be a fine servant to Taka, and is proud to call Luca his son. As for Luca, he asks if the distortion here is an act of Arceus. Elias believes not, and tells him the report from another acolyte. There is a Palkia in the main chamber, as if there could be any other. Elias takes Luca along, leaving us to touch the final statue to open the way to the main chamber Elias just spoke of. It's time to make our way to that place now. Starting over once more. Head north from the first statue through a series of disconnected squares until you reach this vertical hallway. Go northeast from that statue, then south until you come to a horizontal hallway with 3 statues in them. Use the middle one, then go north into a square that has bricks of multiple colors at the top. leapfrog ethereally up 2 more rooms to this one, where earlier a multicolored gate used to bar your way. It is gone now, and up those stairs is our first target, Palkia. The Space Legendary begins a doubles battle with Entei and Magearna. Oh great. Since Slowbro is next to Houndoom from the start, I decide to Destiny Bond before he gets hosed by Trick Room. He doesn't even get that opportunity. Entei uses Extreme Speed and decks Houndoom. When Slowbro then dies at the same time to Fluor Cannon, I completely check out. Drampa and Mawile go out to basically certain death, but Entei didn't like losing attack to Intimidate, so it leaves for Aria Meloetta. That was a shitty thing to do, as Sucker Punch is wasted, and then Fluor Cannon hit Mawile instead of Drampa and one-shot her. Drampa got to scream at them, but they stayed standing. Camerupt comes out next. Meloetta puts him and Drampa permanently to sleep with its signature Relic song. Good lord, Trick Room has to start in this fight. But how can it? Magearna kills Slowbro instantly, but only Magearna attacks her, so there's the solution. Focus Sash. I can't believe I'm using a Focus Sash so quickly, but I have no other idea here. That's going to let Slowbro live, but I'm not about to let Houndoom die for no reason. I keep him up front to bait the Extreme Speed, then switch him with Mawile to Intimidate and resist it. As such, Mawile takes very little, then Slowbro focuses through the Fluor Cannon to Trick Room. But now Mawile and Slowbro are not great against these two. Unlikely to kill either very easily, and worse, Trick Room had to be reduced to 5 turns for that Sash. In a doubles battle against 6 Pokemon, that's still enough time, but this turn won't give us any KOs. Slowbro doesn't get another attack anyway, dying to Extreme Speed first, and Iron Head only takes half from Magearna before Mawile falls to the next Fluor Cannon. It was stupid not having Surf on Slowbro here, because on Holyfield, I can use group attacks that normally hurt my allies and not hurt them. For that, Camerupt and Drampa hit the field together again, and after Camerupt ate an Extreme Speed, Hyper Voice and Earthquake only hit our opponents and knock them out. This brings Meloetta back out here joined by another mythical, Jirachi. But using the same 2 moves, getting a maybe important crit with Hyper Voice against Meloetta, the 2 myths are dropped before they attacked. This leaves us with one more unknown next to the anomaly centerpiece of Palkia, that extra being another mythical, Victini. I had brought Vanillix for that dragon, but at this moment, I may not need him. Dragon Pulse and Tectonic Rage are unleashed against the final 2 opponents, but though Tech Rage killed Victini and Dragon Pulse was powered up, Palkia survived on 1 HP, defeated Camerupt, and then Trick Room ended. But it's alright, I have 3 Pokemon left, and a Pokemon who is going to start Hail against an enemy with under a 16th left. Palkia could only crush Vanillix with a single target Ancient Power, leaving Drampa to win the fight. Man, 1 Focus Sash and the fight completely swung the other way. With this, the first Sinnoh Box Legendary is de-anomalized and charges us a second time. I have so little left to use on it though. Houndoom hits it for a little damage, but he's immediately knocked out by Hydro Pump, so I have to throw the Reborn Ball to finish this. Shiny Palkia goes from pink to blue, basically trading colors with the Pokemon we're going to be facing in a couple minutes. Gobble up that Light Shard nearby without saying thank you to the villain who placed it there, and head back south. You'll now find that the maze room is back to its original shape. This lets you walk without any interference to the right into the adjoining room. Within, the temporal Pokemon, Dialga, awaits. That Pokemon of Time starts by sending out the other Pokemon of Time, Celebi, along with Unbound Hoopa. Slowbro is super screwed again. This time, even though Houndoom could go first and hit with Heat Wave, it missed Hoopa anyway, didn't kill Celebi, and Hoopa's Hyperspace Fury killed Slowbro outright. Houndoom also got knocked out by Ancient Power. This is horrible once again. Mawile and Vanillix come out, and Sucker Punch fails to kill Hoopa. But once again, the Clutch Master does what he does, tanking Ancient Power from Celebi while Hyperspace Hole from Hoopa did not kill Mawile. Vanillix's Blizzard downs both of the opposing forces. This brings forth 2 Gen 5 Mythicals at once, both in their alternate forms. Resolute Keldeo, Pirouette Meloetta. That basically ruins our offense, as Sucker Punch against Keldeo only serves to power it up with Justified, and Close Combat and Surf from them wipe out our side. Drampa and Camerupt have to face this. Camerupt was helpless against both Close Combat that knocked him out as well as the following Surf, but Drampa survived the water attack and then somehow killed both of them with the powered up Hyper Voice. That's quite something, but we have a Steel Dragon legendary left, Dialga, and it's joined by a Volcanion. Drampa cannot stand up to 2 attacks to make use of his anger. I actually considered using another Focus Sash already, but I don't want to. Instead, I just want to put Drampa up front from the start. I'm not sure who's going to kill Destiny Bonding Houndoom this time, but after Celebi fails to do it with Dazzling Gleam, getting Drampa mad at the same time, Hoopa then used Brick Break on Houndoom, thus defeating itself. Now, Drampa has a boosted and angry Hyper Voice that one-shots Celebi. Cool, up 1, but Drampa is pretty much never going to go this turn. I don't want to give up his Hyper Voice though, so I remove him while Slowbro Trick Rooms, sending in Vanillux, who really has little to do this time. What he did do though was take the Ice Punch meant for Drampa, which did little enough that Surf didn't beat him either. Excellent. That lets him freeze dry Keldeo while Slowbro knocked out Meloetta with Psychic. Sadly, Freeze Dry didn't beat the Resolute Pokemon, whose Surf beats Vanillux this time, Slowbro getting worn out. Dialga has shown up, and the only Pokemon dealing with that is Camerupt. Psychic finishes Keldeo, and Tectonic Rage fires. Dialga is history. Last is Volcanion, making me happier I had Camerupt this fight. What really sucked though was when Psychic and Earthquake brought Volcanion down to a microscopic amount of HP, thereby letting it kill Slowbro with Sludge Wave before Hail chipped off that last point of HP. Thanks for making the catching part harder. Drampa is totally unsuitable to hurting it, dying to Roar of Time. I have Mawile come in and Sucker Punch it once, and decide I have to be lucky with Glitter Balls. I don't have time for many. Turns out, I only needed 2. We caught the Dialga Shiny, and it didn't do the color swap with Palkia. It's got a jet black body instead of blue. Way to buzzkill your friend. The battles against the Sinnoh legendaries are over, and upon the defeat of the temporal Pokemon, the existence of this space is immediately rendered unstable. We are ejected from the New World portal, and it vanishes. Luna's still here in the real world. She knows the matter is settled, because just after we entered the portal, a memory suddenly came to her. A memory that may have not existed before we went into that gate. But then, to show up too late for the fireworks, is Taka. He thinks I'm the only one here, but Luna makes herself known too. This makes him a bit nervous, greeting her, as she replies, "Greetings, young master." He stammers out that he heard there was an anomaly here, hoping to help, but now is told by Luna that I have already resolved it. Taka decides that's good enough for him, and tries to leave, but Luna speaks to him again with the same title. He pleads for her to not call him that all of that is behind them. It's time for Luna to be her own person, just another girl. Luna understands, and Taka then quickly leaves, as Luna mentions how she shouldn't have let her memory of the past get the better of her here. She says how Taka did not want her to serve him, so she sought a different master. She's only known how to live her life for the benefit of others. She now thanks us for our help, though saying she is somewhat remorseful of all that we saw. With that, she departs, and so do we. If you return to the nightclub and speak to Luna again, she'll ask if we please stay quiet about what we saw in the sanctum of the past, of what we saw about her. Luna, you should know by now that I literally cannot speak. 1 quest done, and to go. We heard from Zero that Eve is planning something, attempting to continue something that should be left dead. He said she made her way to Seacrest's garden in Peridot to a brand new world. Go there yourself to the next portal to enter. Welcome to the ideal of pestilence. which welcomes me with this shiny Nihilego which wasn't even magnetically lured. Come on, I wasted a bunch of glitter balls last time catching one of you shiny. Whatever. Begin making your way north to the center of the landmass and circle around to the northern side of the mountain. Everywhere else that may seem interesting is blocked off right now. Climb up the stairs to work towards the top, seeing a sort of machine as you get closer. You then reach the center to discover both Lumi and Eve, who are both glad to see you, but for entirely opposite reasons. Lumi is hysterical to us from the start, saying that she can't imagine any good coming from trying this again. Lumi screams at her sister why she won't listen when she knows what happened last time. Eve replies calmly that Lumi knows the stakes of this. Eve, with the information that she gained from Flora, is attempting once again to build it for its original purpose. A pulse. She tells her sister, rather curtly, to not get in her way of doing so. That's when Lumi steps forward and pleads for our help. Are we really going to let Eve do this? There's another of those pesky choices, and what you pick has a rather direct, immediate effect besides on relationship points. Like if I decide that I'll let Eve do this work, in order to save her sister from the disease she still has. Eve is thankful for our trust, but Lumi is upset by our answer. She worries that the accident with the Magnazone will occur again. Eve tries to assure Lumi that everything will be okay, but Lumi reminds Eve that's what she said last time. Lumi doesn't want anyone, especially Eve, to risk anything for her. She'll handle it, whatever comes. Eve won't hear this. She will help Lumi. When Lumi continues to resist Eve's intentions, that's when the older sister asks us to deal with her. Geez, you could make this less cold. But speaking of cold, Lumi will not shy away from fighting the world if she has to for Eve's happiness. Now battling us with her ice team. On a field we just saw last episode but have barely seen otherwise, Wasteland Field, Lumi leads with what so many ice types love to lead with, Alolan Ninetales. Houndoom, please be a good boy. Yes, Ninetales is one shot by Flamethrower. But pivoting off of ice types, Lumi next sends out Goodra. I have to try using Trick Room here, but Goodra has other ideas. A powered up Power Whip wails on Slowbro and knocks her out. Ugh, great. Then I get this luck, where Mawile comes out for Play Rough, but gets Muddy Watered first to lose accuracy, then proceed to miss 2 Play Roughs in a row. After she faints, Goodra gets to blast Drampa with Dragon Pulse, but he somehow lived to respond with his angrier Dragon Pulse, taking out the Pseudo. Back to Ice types, Lumi sends out Aurorus, and when Camerupt tries to Earth Power it, it Earth Powers Camerupt instead. It takes Houndoom Destiny Bonding the Aurorus to see one Pokemon further. That Pokemon is Lapras. Goodbye this attempt. Next attempt, here's what happens when Playrough doesn't miss twice. It one-shots Goodra. Now against Aurorus, Slowbro can safely come out in Trick Room, surviving Thunderbolt. I'm still without Surf on Slowbro like a dumbass, so Psychic barely hurts it while Aurorus knocks Slowbro out. Against Aurorus, even with some HP lost, I'm not sure one Earth Power kills it, so I go Tectonic Rage to be absolutely sure. Lumi apparently has split her types between Ice and Dragon now, as she's next sending Latias. It meets Vanillux, but while it had no chance to survive Blizzard hitting first, it used a seed to plant some Stealth Rocks into the ground, which erupted at the end of the turn to take half from Vanillux. Wow, that hurt! Here comes Lapras again. My only counter to it is Drampa with Thunderbolt, which has so little chance if your only move is Ice Shard? It doesn't do half, and after surviving one Thunderbolt, Lapras' second Ice Shard doesn't kill my Dragon and falls to the second Bolt. The Hail does get Drampa down though, leaving me unaware of the next Pokemon. But I should have known. It's Lumi's most well-known. One that helped us directly. Glaceon. Sorry, Lumi, I have to do this. And by me, I mean Mawile using Ironhead to win. We win the fight, but Lumi still pleads to stop this. It is Eve's life, too. She continues to beg Eve to stop, saying it's not worth it, even starting to say Lumi's not worth it. But Eve changes her tone now. She asks Lumi to think of it from Eve's perspective, if she did stop, despite her knowledge, and lost Lumi too. Eve wouldn't be able to live with herself. To this, Lumi backs away, unable to answer this. She then runs away, leaving Eve calling after her. Eve knows she must follow her, but the project has much to do still. She then asks if we will help her with what she needs. She says that it was this New World sector that has the Pokemon she has been seeking. Shaman. Multiple of them, in fact. Eve needs us to collect them, 5 of them, and goes off to console her sister. Hey, we're not done. We've got an alternate reality to demonstrate. Of course. Do you think I would leave the other battle out? The first time I played this, I definitely tried to stop Eve. I mean, why wouldn't I want to stop another pulse from being built? Eve replies to me trying to stop her that Lumi cannot afford me doing so. Lumi yells that she has the right to decide this, but Eve, like we saw in the other version of events, says she cannot do nothing. She will not let me take Lumi from her. Now the older sister with a penchant for psychic types opens her battle with Alakazam. Houndoom is superbly positioned to that opener too, one-shotting it with Dark Pulse. Now Eve will send out the opposite legendary from Lumi, Latios. Slowbro is just able to use Trick Room after lasting through Thunderbolt, then dying right after to erupting Stealth Rocks from a seed again. Vanilluxe should have made this an easy revenge, but Eve swaps Latios for Metagross. It Mega Evolving makes matters worse, the second Blizzard not killing it as it beats Vanilluxe with Meteor Mash. My Mega Sucker Punches it down, bringing Latios back. I play rough and it dies. Eve's own evolution now appears, Espeon. Mawile can take it down as well in a single Sucker Punch. The Sigilif that follows is just as susceptible to that attack, but the last Pokemon from Eve is not Psychic type. It's Normal type, Porygon Z. However, with Trick Room still awake, I have a Z move left to use. Camera Up launches Tectonic Rage, and we win. Interesting that Eve was easier than Lumi for me. Eve is peeved by our interference, and from there, the rest of the post-fight dialogue is the same as before. That leaves us with the next step of this quest. Finding 5 Shaman. Want to know what you're looking for? Green bushes, like this one just nearby. When you touch it, it's actually a Shaman. It will flee towards the center, plopping itself right onto one of these 5 platforms on the machine. Alright, if you don't mind. Now we have to travel to the corners of this landmass to find more Shaman. After I get down from the mountain, I go east to the northeastern offshoot. Up a bunch of stairs, you'll eventually find another sea of jumping squares. Go up and left from the start to navigate eventually to the right to another island. When you get there, you're going to find a glowing orb like we've oft seen in these worlds. Take it to suddenly see a vision of somewhere else. Overlooking a pond of black water, a bouncing plant suddenly appears. That simply means another puzzle has become solvable. South of us is a moving plant just like it that will then fling you a mile to the south. You just survived that. Up this hill is the second Shaman. There's another jump plant to the left that returns you to the center island, and you can head south to the next step, a hedge maze. Solve the simple maze to find another orb right here, which shows a scene of another place. A mushroom somewhere turns blue. It is not possible to complete this section right now, so leave out the maze and head west. You're going to find where that mushroom we saw probably lives, in this southwestern forest. A pink mushroom out front, upon touch, will then move a tree out of our way. South of that is the blue mushroom we just activated, which will move a few smaller mushrooms ahead. Head left and down to find another mushroom, but this one won't do anything. Instead, go north to this blue shroom to move a bush for a telluric seed, then go west to another mushroom to clear another path. Another pink mushroom moves the tree beside it, a blue one clears more obstruction, and you can reach this orb. The previously magicless mushroom is now magical, and you can go north through this blue mushroom to reach it. The now pink fungus will remove a tree below you, and just past it is Shaman number 3. Before you leave this forest, there's one of those slingshot grass patches northwest by this mushroom. Step on it to fly to another island which holds a Z cell. Bounce back to the previous island on this grass, then find another patch of it in the forest to fling yourself back to the start. Now go to the northwest corner of the area to find one more unexplored region, which is overgrown with flying grass. This section acts like another maze in essence, where you will be given multiple choices of grass patch to launch from. You'll only have one choice at first until you come to this choice of 3. Take the far left patch, then on the next island, touch the lower grass. North of you will be an orb, and grabbing it will remove a tree from the hedge maze we visited earlier. The choices of grass pads you aren't taking will usually take you back to the beginning, which you'll have to do now. Return to the choice of 3, take the left one again, then use the upper grass. When you choose again, choose the higher plant, which will launch you over the dark water to find the 4th shaman. Before touching that grass nearby, swim in the definitely not blue water and ride up the waterfall nearby to obtain an EV booster and max revive. If you don't get these before getting all 5 shaman, they may become unobtainable. Now get back to the beginning of the area and return to the hedge maze to find the final shaman. Head to the east side of it where the tree used to be, and traverse more of the maze until you find the last specimen of the mythical at the southern edge. With this, we have all 5 shaman ready for Eve. Head back to the center and see 5 shaman all sitting on the machine seats, Eve standing at the controls. She thanks us for finding these shaman, then telling us that Lumi is okay now, and that she will cooperate, but only at the very moment we need her. Eve says we have another task now. We need to remove the anomalous energy from the shaman. She says that the leftover junk material from the creation of this world gravitates to the most powerful Pokemon, like these mythicals. Even if the energy isn't enough for an aura, it is still there. In this case, though, the 5 shaman do each generate an aura now. Eve has linked the 5 of them together to make the anomaly appear in order for us to deal with it directly. Doing this will let us prevent unexpected interference. Eve won't take a chance like that again. Eve heals your party, waits for your signal, then joins you to battle the 5 shaman anomaly. This is a much more harrowing fight than against the sisters. You'll be facing down 12 Pokemon this time, with Eve as your ally. The field effect is now Corrosive Field instead of Wasteland, and the Shamans start with Registeel and Klefki. Well, Heat Wave would be great, except Registeel just use a seed to block damage first turn. I Heat Wave anyway so that I can hit both of them next turn, Klefki taking a lot but healing with a berry. A Focus Blast from Eve's Alakazam does a poor amount to the keychain, and then Houndoom is played with roughly, barely standing. A second Heat Wave beats Klefki, but Registeel survives it and Psychic to power up Punch Out Houndoom. However, Stealth Rocks were laid first turn, and Corrosive Field damage adds to that every switch in. Slowbro comes in and loses a third of her HP immediately, only to be countered by Roserade. Fuck. Alakazam biffs a Focus Blast, and Slowbro is drained away by Giga Drain. No Trick Room leaves me really screwed, honestly. I bring in Mawile and decide if I even want some kind of a chance, I'll have to do Swords Dance Sucker Punching. This is greatly assisted by Alakazam destroying Roserade with Psychic, as Registeel chips Mawile with Power Up Punch. The next thing out is Scissor, which is getting me more nervous for keeping Mawile alive. Thankfully, while she Swords Danced again, Alakazam landed a Focus Blast to kill Registeel, only to be knocked off by Scissor. Replacing the legendary is the Ultra Beast, Naganadel, and Eve sends in her Mega Gross. I'm very scared to keep Mawile open for the last Swords Dance, so I send her at Scissor with Sucker Punch. It's enough to kill it, but awfully. I should have tried killing Naganadel, who blasts us with Heat Wave. We both somehow live, and then it goes down to Meteor Mash. However, Sucker Punch isn't going to be great anymore because of Scrafty double resisting it and because of Mega Steelix tanking it. Plus, Scrafty reduced Mawile to 3 attack stages up with Intimidate. She won't have a chance for anything else though, so she Sucker Punches Steelix for only a third. Meteor Mash nails Scrafty, but it holds up a red card, and out goes Mega Gross for Espeon. It then takes both hazard hits, and then both it and Mawile are beaten by their attacks. Awful outcome. Vanillix comes out and then loses half of his HP immediately. Porygon Z arrives and also loses a lot. In some universe, Vanillix was only slower than Porygon Z, who leaves me hanging by using Z conversion, and then Blizzard falls short of a kill on either opponent. Z's type change let it live a Drain Punch from Scrafty, but Vanillix is crushed by Steelix. My team is so slow. I'm hoping that Eve can carry me through this. But then to make me eat those words I just wrote and spoke, after Porygon Z KO'd Scrafty, Drampa went before Steelix. Huh? That had to be a lower priority move. It lets Drampa get the finishing blow on the Mega. But we are far from done. They now give us Mega Venusaur and Dragalge. This time, Drampa cannot act before Venusaur Venoshocks him down, and then we do find there is some lower priority stuff going on. Dragalge just used Dragon Tail to slap Porygon Z away and drag out Mega Gross again. This shows the terrible strategy those Shaman concocted. On Corrosive Field with Stealth Rocks, they are able to drastically harm every Pokemon that comes in, and they will keep forcing switches. It's free and usually unavoidable damage, and can even set up more than 2 knockouts in a turn. My time is running out here, as Camerupt can only watch Metagross do something, beating Venusaur, and then Camerupt dies to Hydro Pump. Now finally a Shaman shows up, Skyform, and without any more Pokemon from my side, I have to hope that Eve wins this for me now. Sadly, the Air Slash flinch Metagross gets pretty much seals it. There's some weird and crazy interactions that happen, including Shaman changing Corrosive Field to Grassy using Seed Flare, the only way that could be done permanently, but eventually, Eve's team runs out of energy too. So Trick Room isn't going to do it this time. We need some real speed, and a lot of coverage for Steel types. Heracross, Alakazam, and Talonflame come in. The start of the next attempt ends up being pretty similar. We kill Klefki, but Stealth Rocks came out and Houndoom dies to Scissor's Bullet Punch. By this time, Alakazam does Focus Blast Registeel away from us, and I bring out Mawile to Scrafty. I'm doing Swords Dance again, which pays off for me as Alakazam Dazzling Gleamed them to decimate Scrafty, but its red card once again pushed Alakazam away, and Espeon was pulled in front of an incoming knockoff, which took it out. Now we get Skarmory, another Pokemon that Mawile really doesn't deal with too well. I have to go for more Swords Dance, and Mawile is once again not attacked. Instead, the entry hazard strat ramps up further as they lay spikes around us. Alakazam did not aim Focus Blast well enough this time, and he gets beaten by knockoff as well. The hazards are really bad now, as Porygon Z comes out from Eve to lose half its HP immediately, even without being weak to them. It doesn't bother attacking them either, doing Z conversion first, but with only another set of spikes being laid down and a bug bite that doesn't kill Porygon Z, we are strongly set up. Mawile now has 5 attack stages thanks to Scrafty's Intimidate, so it's time to use it. I expect Z to hit Skarmory with Thunderbolt, so I Sucker Punch Scissor to beat it like I proved earlier. Porygon Z did bring down a shattering Thunderbolt on the Metal Bird, but it had Sturdy. And horribly, a red card also. That punts Porygon Z and all of its stat stages away, dragging in Latios. Then the full power of Shaman's strat is shown. After Latios used its seed item to have a protect effect, though still taking a lot of hazard damage, Skarmory took its turn to use Whirlwind, wasting that shield, then ripping Porygon Z back out here. It then takes all of the hazard damage again, killing it, which forces Eve to send out another Pokemon, Metagross, which then also takes the floor damage. This is awful. And the fact that Mawile has 5 attack stages up makes this strategy brutal at the moment. Mega Steelix is back, and even with all this attack, I have little confidence Mawile kills that in one hit. But I get the feeling that Metagross is going to bullet punch the bird anyway. It did, and then Mawile did 2/3 with Sucker Punch, but Steelix then used Dragon Tail. Oh, it hit Metagross instead of Mawile, thank goodness. Latios is forced to return, but it only takes Stealth Rock damage. The Poison Dragon Ultra Beast comes from the right side, and I definitely don't want that going. Sucker Punch kills Naganadel, but I was punished for this with Latios using Dragon Pulse on Steelix instead, not winning. It's then slapped viciously with Dragon Tail, not dying but in bad shape, and Metagross has to make another appearance against its will. Sky Shaman is out, and I'm just hoping that Megagross kills their Mega while Sucker Punch sweeps the Shaman. Zen Headbutt does kill Steelix, and honestly the crit may have done the trick. When Mega Venusaur and Roserade appear, the latter popping a seed for a Baneful Bunker, it's obvious that I'm punching Venusaur this turn. But that goes horribly wrong when Sucker Punch failed. Disaster strikes when Zen Headbutt from Metagross doesn't beat the opposing Mega, and Eve's Pokemon is killed by Roserade's hidden power. This brings us to the status move that Venusaur went for. It was Sleep Powder, and it got Mawile. This is bad. Then Eve uses Sigilif, who has a Baneful Bunker Seed, which is going to bait Mawile to getting hit hard. One Sleep Turn is used, and Mawile is blasted with the Hidden Power Fire attack, but she survives incredibly. For some reason, Venusaur used Sleep Powder again, on Sigilif, so it failed because of the protection. I cannot fathom why, but it allows Sigilif to kill Venusaur. This has finally worn down the right side's reserves, so we are 2-on-1 now. Unfortunately, Mawile does not awaken, and loses the hidden power, Sigilif only using Cosmic Power. Now I have to consider the hazard damage, and it really sucks that Stealth Rock is out here. Even though Talonflame avoids the other 2 traps, he loses half his HP off the top. But a Flying Gem Brave Bird still goes first and smashes the flower Pokemon into the toxic ground. Dragalge is next. Talonflame exhausts all the rest of his energy with a crit Brave Bird, nearly one-shotting the Algae Dragon. What was shitty though, was that even though Talonflame had already fainted from recoil, his body is still ejected by a red card, forcing Vanillix to come in and take a huge amount of damage right in the line of fire of the dragon. I was begging Sigilif to follow up, but it instead Cosmic Powered up more, leaving Vanillix to be Dragon-tailed back out of the fight, meaning he is now effectively dead. All Vanillix did was add even more field damage with Hail, as Alakazam has come out now and loses almost 2/3 of his HP. Dragalge is going to die this turn no matter what, and I realize I have Recover. There's no way I have the energy to last through this fight just swinging at them, and Sigilif better kill it first anyway. I recover Alakazam, who isn't Mega in this fight, and Sigilif does beat Dragalge. Now there's a Cresselia in front of us, and I really don't have much to hit it with. I want to just exist longer, so I Protect, as Cresselia failed a Thunder Wave, and Sigilif Cosmic Powers yet again. I Psychic now though, and there's another red card. Alakazam is thrown out, and Vanillix is pushed onto the Lego-covered floor and he dies. Sigilif now gets hit with Thunder Wave, which takes his turn immediately. That was an awful turn! Alakazam is nothing to kill Cresselia, but Heracross does. She has the HP to survive the tax to move in, but not the speed to attack first. She's Moonblasted, and she's out, leaving me with only Alakazam. Sigilif Psycho Shifts to Cresselia though to give it the Paralysis instead. Once again with nearly no HP, I recover Alakazam. Sigilif can only do a small amount with stored power, and it's re-paralyzed. I fully heal Alakazam, but then Cresselia likes that idea too, and moonlights. Please kindly fuck off. But thanks to Hail still being here, it heals relatively little, and then Alakazam crits a Psychic to almost kill, and its next Moonlight is still hampered by weather. Thanks to this, we just narrowly kill Cresselia, and the fight is over. Horrendous. What a devious battle. It's weird that a group of shaman would fight like this, and boy could that have been a lot more insufferable. Now the anomalies around the shaman are disengaged, and Eve moves to the next step. She's going to have the shamans all do seed flare to transform this place. They all fire the attack in unison, and with that, the idol of pestilence is purified into the idol of penitence, a gorgeous land of lush greenery. Eve says this has promise, but we now need to hopefully find the ingredients she needs. Just like the shaman, she says she needs 5 of them, before noticing that there is one right here next to us. She surmises that the other 4 flowers we need are probably near where the shaman were before, and asks if we will go track down the Gracidia. She will also tell you that now, some of the mushrooms we saw earlier have sprouted in other places, and their function has changed. Now, if we approach an area with a gray mushroom, we may find that puzzle to be unsolvable. In order to solve it, we'll need to find the mushrooms again, which now seem to compete. When one of them is activated, they'll remove an obstacle type, but the other 2 mushrooms will put their obstacles back in place. This will make sense as we run for the 4 corners again. Before we start this new phase of puzzles, it's time to capture another Ultra Beast, Kartana. I still have Beast Balls remaining, so I don't bother trying to catch it shiny here. Shiny Kartana is green instead of orange. Now I went to the northeast leg of the island, but we find a gray mushroom out front. No reason to toil away at this puzzle now. Back down at the hedge maze, there is no mushroom standing guard, so start going through it again. An orb can be reached by going out around the outside of the maze from the north, then back in from the east to get the orb and open a hedge segment. Through there and down, another orb awaits, cutting another hedge in half. Step through there and find a third orb, which removes an entire hedge bush north of us. That has opened the way to the southern edge of the maze where a Gracidia flower grows. On to the southwest, and we find the mushroom forest has been modified. The only thing we can do at first is hit this red mushroom. Some small mushroom blockers go away ahead of us, but we'll soon see a gray mushroom. Not a good sign. We can hit this bouncing grass to come down to a purple mushroom, which will remove a tree near the gray mushroom. But using the upper grass brings us over to it, and we have no way forward. Going to the northwest, though, shows us that puzzle also has a gray mushroom. So how do we make progress? Well, the last mushroom we touched was purple, and if you return to the northeastern corner, the mushroom at the entrance is now colored purple. This means that the puzzle can be solved. Round 2 of the jumping square asteroid belt has you go north from the start as high as you can, and then left. Press forward however you can from there, until you get here. At this junction, go left and then down to follow a path to reach another Z cell. After that, you can easily reach another landmass north of you and grab another orb of light. Doing this will show us the gray mushroom in the southwest forest become light blue. From there, bounce south to find the next Gracidia flower. Before I attempt to solve the mushroom forest, I am instead going to activate the red mushroom and leave to go check the northwestern bouncy grass puzzle. The mushroom out front has turned red, so let's have a go at this one. After the first bounce, you'll immediately be given a choice of grassy jump pad. Take the lower one, which is the one you should jump on for the next 2 choices you get. Then you'll get a choice of 3 grass pads. Pick the one farthest to the left, and when you get this choice of 2, pick the upper right one. From there, you will only have one choice until you get here. This was where an obstacle used to stop you from going north, which is the way you need to go to solve the puzzle. A couple bounces later, you reach the third Gracidia you need. However, jump into the now actually blue water and climb the waterfall again. There's a new item up here, and once again, something unique you don't have. Soul Dew. The power-up item for Latios and Latias. Cool. Not for me, but cool. Bounce your way back to the entrance of that corner to now tackle the last puzzle, Mushroom Forest V2. Shiny Alolan Muck. Cool, it's got turquoise in it. I have no idea what kind of trash would make that color. Maybe a pistachio ice cream factory exploded. Do the puzzle up to the point we did last time, hitting the purple mushroom and using the higher grass to come up to the now blue mushroom. The blue mushroom can now be activated to move small bushes. Use that to walk south through this now open corridor and bounce off this grass over to a purple shroom. A tree is moved near you, and the grass moves you back near that new opening. A red mushroom is in the south that clears some smaller fungi around you. There's a bounce grass to the right. Do not take that unless you want to start over. Go to the left and find a light orb waiting for you past a purple mushroom. Use that shroom to move a tree to the north, then jump from the grass right next to the orb. Eating it will make another gray mushroom southwest of you turn blue. Use the grass in that little nook to come back to the left and touch it, moving some bushes to the right. A red mushroom moves its offspring out of our way to the right, one more blue mushroom to trim down a shrub, and there's the last Gracidia. The nearby bouncy grass takes us back to the New World portal, from which we can walk north back to Eve. Eve takes the flowers from us now and tells us her plan. She will use them to cross-pollinate and produce an entire garden here, the produce of which will be the key to cure Lumi's condition. Eve says that this process will take time, but since Lumi's condition is currently stable, there's no rush. We can be calm and collected. Calm and collected is the last thing that the end of this quest will be, because it's time for the most contrived and infuriating opposition to arrive with a shrieking cry. Your final opponent in this quest comes screaming from the south. Crod fucking Berry, who apparently stumbled upon the New World portal when she was walking through Peridot and became utterly enraged by the fact there's a world of lush plant life here like devil magic. As for Eve, she's completely lost why this is happening to us and tries just asking the wicked old woman to leave. Yeah, nice try. She instead intends to raise this garden, because why not make Crodberry just a raving psychopath? Eve sees that we don't have the luxury of time anymore and says we'll have to grow the garden faster. Do those words trigger an alarm in your mind? She spells it out for you. This area is now Flower Garden Field, and in order to conclude this quest, you must battle Crodberry to stop her from destroying these fertile fields while growing the flower garden to its 5th stage. After all of the times you wantonly burned the field to a crisp, now you become the caretaker, and you must protect what you so eagerly destroyed. Eve will heal your team, and then you will turn to this horrible person trampling on the flowers and kindly ask her to leave. As Eve said, you must grow the garden to stage 5 when the fight ends, but there are going to be a lot of things to consider to do so. First, what options are you bringing to grow the garden at all? You can grow the garden using these moves, as well as when sun and rain begin. Flower Gift and Flower Veil will also grow it. Finally, it will grow if you use a synthetic seed, but there are many pitfalls to watch out for that will eliminate your progress, which you'll see in these attempts. Out front from the Mad Woman is Victory Bell, but Alakazam wrecks that thing in one Psychic. The next Pokemon she plans to send is Torkoal. I'm going to Vanillux here for one reason. This Torkoal has Drought and starts Sunlight, and I want Vanillux to override it with Hail. Sunlight with a fire type out will obviously mean burning down the garden, but that's not the real issue. It's the fact that if she or I use rain while it's sunny, then Rainbow Field will take over. If that happens, then the progress of the flower garden is reset back to stage 1. Hail proves to be a great option to prevent that, but unfortunately, Vanillux is faster, so his Hail goes first and then Sun takes over. This is not good for hurting it with Greninja, who I switch to next, but it misses Heat Wave and the garden can only be torched at level 3. Back to Vanillux, he has to take a Heat Wave this time as Hail removes the sunlight, and then he has been taught Rain Dance. The rain starts and grows the garden and prevents the flower garden from being burned up by Torkoal. Vanillux doesn't manage to live through the heat wave though, but with rain up, it's time to own this turtle with Greninja. That's sadly not what we get to do. Crodberry yanks the Torkoal for a Moongus. Fortunately, Greninja has Ice Beam to freeze out the mushroom before it could do anything, and next is Qwilfish. One Psychic from Alakazam kills the spiky fish, but unfortunately, I have made a severe error. It's raining, and there's no way to stop what happens when Torkoal returns. Its drought mixes the sun and rain, and Rainbow Field overtakes my Stage 3 field. Even though I can barely take down the Torkoal with Greninja, him fainting to a shitty burn, the objective is pretty much screwed. I can't even bring Vanillix out to use Hail anymore to end the rainbow early. Instead, I try to wait this out by just beating what Crawberry still has, next being Heatmore. I waste a turn using Recover, take a ton from Heat Wave, then kill the Durant-Eater with Psychic. Her final Pokemon is Crobat, so I go to Aegislash to waste time. After one turn of King's Shield, the rainbow disappears, and I have to begin the process again from level 1. I have a Synthetic Seed on Talonflame, which grows the field once, but now, Talonflame can't get away due to Ingrain. I can spam Tailwind though until Crobat kills me with Sludge Bomb, but when Crobat then somehow goes faster than Alakazam to kill him before I use Rain Dance, the fight is over. I was planning on using Rain Dance for Stage 3, Bloom Doom with Jump Pluff for another stage, then wait out Rain Dance to reach the last stage, then kill Crobat, as unlikely as all that would have been. Instead, with no rain, not only do we not have a chance to reach level 5, but Crobat kills Jump Pluff with Heat Wave at level 3, and the garden is burned up. I get a Pyrrhic victory with Aegislash over Crobat, but when the fight ends, Crawberry continues to scream bloody murder that she won't rest until this entire place is salt and ash. On the next try, I know that I must kill Torkoal as soon as it's presented. It having drought is the worst thing in this fight, as Rain Dance allows me to both grow the field and stop burning field from erupting. Victory Bell is tossed aside immediately again. Torkoal is out. Straight over the Greninja, it takes 2 Surfs to beat the turtle while Greninja took a painful Heat Wave. However, this has given me Stage 2 for free. Crobat is already here, and we have to block the sun before we Rain Dance. Vanillix is my best play for sure. I could kill Crobat first, but I go for Rain Dance instead to make sure nothing stupid can light the field. Vanillix takes a Heat Wave first for about a third, Rain begins, and then he gets hit with Sludge Bomb for less than Heat Wave but doesn't kill with Freeze Dry. Then Vanillix gets crit with the second Sludge Bomb, and the Clutch Master smiles and freezes the bat. Heatmore is coming, so Greninja will wash it away with a single Surf. We still have 2 stages left to go, but I want to reduce her Pokemon to 1 before attempting to clinch Stage 5. Amoonguss is next, and Talonflame would be great for that, but if he comes out, he'll be stuck from Ingrain and will only be at Stage 4. Plus, if I can use Rain Dance again, that gives me another stage to work with. For that, I bring out Vanillix again, but I should have just killed the Shroom. Instead, I use Rain Dance immediately, leaving Vanillix open to Giga Drain and fainting. Still don't want to resort to Talonflame now, so I use Alakazam and beat Amoonguss. Only opponent left is Qwilfish, which is dangerous in my mind. It's poison, so it could be that it uses Acid Downpour, which will also reset the field all the way back to level 1. Plus, it's unfortunately typed well against Talonflame, so I decide to max out the field with Jump Pluff. But I try to make it more favorable by using Sleep Powder first, only to miss. That gets punished by Cut, a move that takes away 1 stage from the field and almost kills Jump Pluff. If it keeps doing that, we won't make any more progress, so it has to go to sleep. The second try, it does, and Bloom Doom fires. I wasn't expecting the Grass Z move to kill Qwilfish, and it fortunately did live with a third. It's time to get over to Talonflame though for the last stage, but I need a max round sleep for this to work perfectly. That's exactly what I get. Talonflame switches in, the Flower Garden reaches Stage 5, and Qwilfish failed to awaken. Acrobatics punches down the fish, and Crawberry cannot help but be witness to floral perfection. Eve cheers that we've done it, which enrages Crawberry. Enrages? Enrages? Boom! No more Crawberry. Eve decides that she saw nothing of what has just occurred, and I'm obliged to go along with that. At that moment, Lumi suddenly runs up to us, scared about what that explosion was. Eve thought she'd be waiting elsewhere until she was needed, but Lumi couldn't help but be worried. But then, she catches sight of the shaman and becomes enchanted with them. This is where Eve's new pulse shows the drastic departure from the old version. There are no mutations or restraints. They don't feel pain. In fact, Eve's surprised they wanted to stay there and help with this. Eve cannot help but give credit to Flora for these ideas, as loath as I am to give her credit for that. Lumi thanks them for helping, and then apologizes to Eve for how she acted earlier. She says she realized what is bothering her the most. Eve is doing all the work for her. She doesn't want to sit around and be saved by her sister. As such, she will not accept any cure Eve makes. Lumi, I just had to stop the worst woman in Reborn from destroying this place. Lumi will instead make the cure herself, and Eve can help her do it. Only help. Eve observes how fast Lumi has already grown up, and agrees to teach Lumi everything she needs to know to do this. She says now that the shaman have done their part, so they can go. Lumi is excited to begin, believing that she'll soon have all the time in the world. The two sisters begin their work together to synthesize the cure that Lumi will make to mend herself. Meanwhile, one of the 5 shaman is walking around here, and doesn't mind going with us. I didn't reset for a shiny, so instead I'll show it here. Landform becomes carnation pink instead of green, while Skyform is mostly pink as well with some blue mixed in. Very nice design. It's time to leave the idol, but once again, we don't get to leave without some godly girl sassing. She tries to blame me for making Crodberry explode. She actually thinks she can guilt me that I just killed someone. You mean like you did multiple times with your direct actions? She wonders how I'll rationalize this. It's easy, Lynn. I'll just argue that all adults are that way, and that you should be helping me. She sneers that I only finished the quest because I liked one person more than another, then trying to turn it around that she's on my side about it. Of course, she only does it because she wants the credit for creating this world that had the ingredients to fix Lumi. She says maybe she wanted to help Lumi. And you know who didn't help? Anna. Lynn fades away again, leaving me to back in the nightclub. What's there to do? The only one waiting now is Cass. She has a quest for us, and begins by telling us what's wrong. It's Agate City. Its residents have been put to sleep again. But there's something more to it this time. Nightmares. She says that along with this, a tear in reality has opened in Iolia Valley. For this, she then uncharacteristically warns me, prepare, stock up on supplies, and maybe even make a backup save. Trust me, she says. Listen to Cass, says the brand new backup save that has appeared in your save file folder. There's nothing else I can do. I now proceed back to Iolia Valley, the Valley of Darkness. From the entrance to the valley, go to the right to the river and climb the waterfall to enter this cave. When you step inside and use the purple crystal to change the room, you'll find a new world portal. Go into the portal and prepare for a total
nightmares. And the project now only exists. And the project now only exists. And our project now only exists. And the project now only exists. And our project now only project now only exists. And our pulse project now only project now only exists. Pulse project now only exists. Project now pulse project now only exists. And our pulse project now only exists. Pulse project now only exists. And our pulse project now only.
You walk through the reddish void until you find a broken chessboard, upon which you see what is causing the sleep curse upon Agate.
and the Pulse project now only exists in our
You now face, once again, the Pulse Hypno. Horror grips you tight now, especially as the darkest battle theme possible plays, the red theme at half speed. And this nightmare is on one of the worst killing fields, chessboard, in doubles. Swoobat and Golisopod appear first to my Houndoom and Shedinja. Everything on this field has a focus sash at the moment, so all I can do is focus down Swoobat with my Pokemon. I don't get to do this without Golisopod ramming into Houndoom with first impression, leaving him with 1 HP. Swoobat never gets to move though, but it's replaced by something far, far worse. Aegis Slash. That can surely hit Shedinja now, and Golisopod is a giant problem. I attempt to kill Aegis Slash with the same 2 moves, but after Shedinja's Shadow Sneak, I find it's faster than Aegis Slash because it too Shadow Snuck to kill Houndoom. What's horrible is that Shedinja was not safe from Golisopod either, taking a knockoff to lose its pawn protection. I am in a horrible position against the Rook Sword and Shield, and the Pawn Water Bug still at full HP. I bring in Pangoro in order to try killing Aegis Slash quickly, but in attack stance, it will surely guard now. So instead, Pangoro and Shedinja both coordinate to kill Golisopod, thankfully both outspeeding. It is followed by Rhyperior, something far too defensive physically. I should have used Shadow Sneak with Shedinja once more, but for not, it is killed by Aegis Slash first, while Pangoro lands a Hammer Arm on Rhyperior and actually one-shot it. Alakazam comes out as my king, and we are faced with Banette, the Hypno's queen. Alakazam is immensely screwed here, only saved by the fact that he has king priority, but his attack power is only useful against Banette, which is actually Mega Banette. But even though Alakazam went first to slam the Queen Banette with Psychic and make its Sucker Punch worthless, Aegis Slash's Shadow Sneak kills Alakazam in 1 hit. Pangoro beats the Banette, but next to the Aegis Slash that is so monstrously difficult to kill is something that even death couldn't stop. The Pulse Hypno appears. It is Dark Psychic, meaning Bug works on it very well, but it has unbelievable HP and defenses. Defenses that are bolstered further by being a Rook. But what's worst of all is what you remember when it goes before everything. Its ability is No Guard, and it used Dark Void, an unmissing double sleep attack. Camerupt and Pangoro go to sleep, and Pangoro will never awaken thanks to Aegis Slash's Iron Head. It doesn't matter what I do now. Vanillix comes out only to be put to sleep as well. Camerupt does awaken last though, to attack the King's shielded Aegis Slash with Tectonic Rage, but it does only a third, overflowing the Protect. The chessboard is destroyed here, but Dark Void steals Camerupt's consciousness once again, and soon, after Vanillix succumbs, Dream Eater steals his life. I am in a stalemate. I run now in terror from this abomination. I run far away, wishing to hide forever, but the monsters will come for me in my sleep. I must fight them now. I must return with better means to defeat the mutated horror before me. I teach Signal Beam to Alakazam as the way to drastically harm Hypno should Alakazam ever meet it. The nightmare starts again. Swoobat falls in the first turn again, Houndoom in the second, while Shadow Clawing the Golisopod for more damage first. Foolishly, that would have been much better for Aegis Slash. I bring Pangoro out again in order to kill Golisopod like before, but Shedinja falls again. Aegis Slash keeps remaining in attack stance, making me regret not attacking it when I can. When Vanillix comes out next, the pulse is here. Vanillix tries hard to taunt the Hypno to prevent the horrible sleep move from taking us, but it was a fool's errand. He's too slow. We both go to sleep. Vanillix is splintered by ancient power. Pangoro is iron-headed, and Hail finishes him. Alakazam comes out, but he gave his crown to Camerupt to have priority, himself the queen role now. But Camerupt's earth power does almost nothing to Hypno, and Signal Beam can barely do half of its total HP. Sleep comes for me, then eternity. Again, the same nightmare. Now Houndoom heat waves to break sturdy on Golisopod while Swoobat still dies. This time, somehow, Aegislash went for Shedinja with Shadow Sneak instead. I don't know why it would, but with Heat Wave and Shadow Claw, Aegislash has been taken down. Houndoom still did not avoid death though, as knockoff came from Golisopod. Vanillix comes out to King Rhyperior, and though Shadow Sneak hits Golisopod first, it causes Golisopod to emergency exit to bring in the horrible Pulse. And then Rhyperior goes first with Rock Slide, killing Shedinja, and Vanillix flinched. Then King Rhyperior kills Vanillix and makes Alakazam flinch, as Alakazam is hit by ancient power, but lives. My King Camerupt is not able to outspeed Rhyperior, and Alakazam is lost. Earth power doesn't kill Rhyperior, and Hypno claims Camerupt's life. Pangoro all alone. Bullet Punch beats Rhyperior first, but the Dark Void falls on him. Golisopod makes its first impression on Pangoro, which he sees only in his terrible dream. Every night, the same nightmare. Fighting with the same composition, and it always ends the same way. Swoobat dies, Aegislash dies, Houndoom dies, now Rhyperior again. Shedinja avoids Rock Slide, Pangoro avoids flinching, Hammer Arm cracks Rhyperior in half. Shedinja is still beaten by knockoff. King Camerupt, the Pulse Hypno again. Tectonic Rage goes first and rids us of this accursed field, barely hurting Hypno, only for the Void to return, Starlight Arena. And that Dark Void drifts over both of my Pokemon. Camerupt dies to Liquidation, then Alakazam is faster than Hypno, and Signal Beam is stronger on this field. Even with quad damage, it isn't enough to kill Hypno, who ends Pangoro. Golisopod then steals away the chance with knockoff to kill Alakazam too. Vanillix cannot do anything. He doesn't even see his end. No more. Chessboard can't be beaten this time. I have to get away from it. Camerupt can use his Z-power to destroy it, and we find another way out of this nightmare. Swoobat only nasty plots now. Knockoff makes Shedinja vulnerable, Shadow Claw reduces Swoobat to 1, Tectonic Rage hurts Golisopod and destroys the board. Shadow Sneak takes out Swoobat first, but Camerupt dies to Liquidation before he could try to attack. Aegislash appears now, and it is more horrible here than on chessboard. It first kills Shedinja with Shadow Sneak, then Crunch is not super effective. Dark moves have a fairy secondary here. However, it dies anyway from a critical hit. Pangoro is hurt severely by knockoff though. Houndoom comes in now, only to see terror. He attacks Hypno with Dark Pulse, doing super effective damage, but it only takes a third and doesn't cause a flinch, allowing it to kill Pangoro before he went, and Liquidation kills Houndoom. But even with a third missing, Alakazam's Signal Beam doesn't kill Hypno. It puts us both to sleep before Vanillix attacks. Alakazam dies, Vanillix wakes up fast, but not before his dream was eaten, and his Freeze Dry doesn't beat Golisopod. It changes to Rhyperior then, and Vanillix, no matter how hard he ran, couldn't get away from them. I'm afraid to go to sleep, because the same nightmare comes again. Chessboard, Swoobat, Houndoom, Shedinja, Aegislash. So much death. Pangoro dies to foul play from Hypno, but Vanillix taunted it. No Dark Void now. Alakazam tries to kill Hypno, only does half. Hypno tries to kill Vanillix, he hangs on. Vanillix tries to kill Golisopod, it lives barely, freezes, and leaves for Rhyperior. For the first time, we kill the Pulse Hypno with Signal Beam. Then Blizzard hits Rhyperior, but it barely survived. It rock slides to take out Vanillix, and Alakazam is in dire straits. Houndoom comes out as the Golisopod appears again. I believe that I have this, until a terrifying smile flashes in front of my eyes, followed by a bug face first impressioning Alakazam after thawing immediately. Houndoom kills the bug, but Rhyperior then snuffs my Hellhound with Rock Slide. I almost escaped, but I'm still trapped. When Golisopod is hit with Tectonic Rage on the next night, it loses half of its HP this time, and immediately switches into Aegislash instead. A bloodbath ensues. Shadow Sneak, Earthquake. Everything but Camerupt died that turn. Golisopod and the Pulse. Dark Void steals us away. Liquidation ends Camerupt. Vanillix is dragged into Dark Sleep too, but he eats a berry now to wake up and taunt the monster to stop that from happening again. Pangoro awakens and crunches it, and on this field, it does almost half and lowers defense. Vanillix is slammed with Liquidation, then finished with Ancient Power by Hypno before it is killed by another crunch. Pangoro is brought to an inch of his life by Liquidation, and then something we haven't seen since the first attempt comes back to remind me that I haven't been even close to overcoming this. Mega Bayonet. It Shadow Sneaks Pangoro down as Alakazam kills Golisopod, something that I realized then was the fatal error. One more bloodbath ensues. When Alakazam is Shadow Snuck to die, Houndoom Dark pulses the Mega to kill it, and then is crushed by Rock Slide by Rhyperior. How can I overcome all of these terrible beasts? The nightmare happens the same way. Taunting Hypno after eating a berry, and Alakazam came out to shoot it with Signal Beam, only to be killed by its foul play. Houndoom can kill Hypno, but Rhyperior doesn't die to Blizzard, and Rhyperior kills Houndoom while Golisopod first impressions the rest of Vanillix's life. Attempting to force Golisopod to leave early by hitting it twice only lets Swoobat murder us with maximized special attack. Now in my nightmare, Mawile is here instead of Vanillix, and something has changed. Instead of trying to kill Aegislash with Shedinja and Pangoro, I now hit Golisopod with Shadow Sneak to make him emergency exit, and the Hypno takes its place, such that it is crunched by Pangoro and lose 3/4 of its HP. Having taken such a huge chunk already gives me an important lead, but Alakazam is now standing in front of an Aegislash who can almost surely kill him with Shadow Sneak. I switch in Mawile from Pangoro though, and intimidate the Hypno and Aegislash, and with that, Shadow Sneak from Aegislash doesn't kill Alakazam, who goes on to kill Hypno. But our next turn goes completely to hell. When Golisopod came back, primed to first impression, and I knew Alakazam had to leave. Pangoro took his place and nearly died, but Mawile's Sucker Punch failed because it went last. I tried hard to kill Golisopod, but Pangoro wasn't able to get there first, dying to Iron Head. Houndoom killed the water bug with Heat Wave while Aegislash decided now to guard, Mawile building up attack. But once again, there's no luck in a nightmare. Heat Wave misses both Aegislash and Rhyperior. It may have let Rhyperior survive Mawile's Iron Head, and then Houndoom dies to Rock Slide, Mawile dodging the rocks. Alakazam has no way to attack before Aegislash eviscerates him, and Mawile can only kill Rhyperior with Sucker Punch. And yet again, there's still something lurking behind. Bayonet. It's all over again. Pangoro crunches Hypno again, but Heat Wave and Bullet Punch don't kill it after. Pangoro dies. Heat Wave and Sucker Punch don't kill Aegislash while Hypno recedes from my vision. Golisopod is returned again though, his cursed first impression ready. I should have not tried Sucker Punch here. On Golisopod it'll go too late, and on Aegislash, as I tried it, the damn shield came up. Houndoom dies for nothing. Alakazam is cut down instantly by Shadow Sneak, and Mawile is liquidated. The 12th night in a row of this horrible dream. Houndoom comes out instead of Pangoro to kill Aegislash instead. Alakazam can't kill the Pulse and dies. Mawile awakens from terrible sleep to force it into the grave. Mawile beats Golisopod with Sucker Punch, but dies to Rhyperior when Pangoro can't stop it in time with Hammer Arm. And yet there's still Banette. If this Crunch can kill it after dodging the Gunk Shot... No. Drill Run hit him first, and Pangoro flinched. The 13th night. Golisopod ejects from Tectonic Rage. Camerupt can kill Aegislash, but Houndoom sees Golisopod come back, and First Impression continues to maul him. We can't stop them. 14 nights. Houndoom attacks Hypno, but sleep comes for him in Pangoro. Mawile appears after and kills Hypno, but Golisopod comes back. We can't stop them. 15. Pangoro Crunch. Houndoom Dark Pulse. Hypno dies. First Impression continues to kill me. Golisopod died. Banette here now. Houndoom didn't attack Banette, and Aegislash guarded against him. Pangoro died to Shadow Sneak. Alakazam is helpless to Banette and Aegislash. Houndoom can't stop them. We can't stop them. 16 nights. Banette and Aegislash can kill us before we move. Trick Room wouldn't help. They always go first. Houndoom dies, to what he has done to so many Pokemon. To Banette's prankster Destiny Bond. 17 nights. Something has changed. Houndoom kills Hypno. Golisopod returns. Mawile takes Houndoom's place, intimidating them. First Impression hits her and does very little. Pangoro dies. Mawile and Houndoom can stop Golisopod together, but they cannot stop Rhyperior together. Alakazam can't stop Aegislash and Banette from using priority for an instant kill. We can't stop them. 18 nights of terror. Alakazam can't help if Aegislash is alive. We can't stop them. 19 nights. Golisopod didn't retreat from Shedinja and dies to Crunch instead. Hypno appears full HP. Alakazam and Pangoro can kill it, but not without Hypno taking Alakazam too. Hammer Arm misses Rhyperior. Houndoom can't stop anything. Mawile all alone. She can't stop them. We cannot stop them. The 20th night. Shedinja attacks Swoobat to reduce it to 1. Camerupt gets blasted to 1 by Liquidation. The chessboard is destroyed by Tectonic Rage to become Starlight Arena. Swoobat is killed by Shadow Sneak. Golisopod finishes Camerupt off. Aegislash appears. Shedinja makes Golisopod emergency exit so that Hypno shows up and a critical hit Crunch kills the Pulse immediately. Shedinja died to Shadow Sneak. Houndoom comes out, but Golisopod returned. Instead, Houndoom runs away for Mawile. First Impression is weak. Aegislash guarded uselessly, so Pangoro crunches Golisopod to death. Rhyperior is next. After Mawile Sucker Punches it, she dies to a crit Iron Head from Aegislash. Pangoro can stop Rhyperior with Hammer Arm in time. Banette appears again. Pangoro and Houndoom both attack it. Houndoom is hurt by Sucker Punch, but Banette dies to Dark Pulse. Pangoro hit a King's Shield to lose attack power, but Aegislash is alone. Houndoom Dark Pulses. Aegislash Iron Heads Pangoro. Pangoro survived and finishes off Aegislash. We stopped them. After 20 hellish tries, we finally killed the Pulse Hypno for the second time. This was one of the most painful, hideous fights I've ever seen. I didn't know when I'd see the end of this fight. It was just as horrible before, too. I tried to use Trick Room with Dusclops, but it didn't matter. Their priority moves would simply kill me first anyway. Heracross was stuck in a wicked slumber, and a 5 HP Talonflame was all that separated this from another loss. As well, I had not been using Houndoom at all in this playthrough, but I dragged a level 100 Houndoom out of the box because I needed Destiny Bonds so desperately. But if you think that beating the Pulse Hypno brings this nightmare to an end, you'd better wake up. Oh, you can't. You now stand in a dismal gray forest. All color is muted, darkness encroaching on you from the corners of your mind. You check to see what kind of Pokemon are here, if there's an Ultra Beast. No, nothing new, just a muck. Also this shiny Swalot. You climb the hill in this drab dimension to come up to a person seemingly unperturbed by this grim landscape. He says, "It's about time I woke up." He says that we are in a very desolate part of a dream. He claims he had no intention of me being here. He wasn't looking for me, but another trainer. He has no interest in me and says I can find my way back home myself. But then an Apom appears and wants food. The man says he can be fair and makes us a deal. He doesn't feel like sating the monkey's appetite himself, so if we find it 3 Nanab berries, the man will show us how to leave this place. He leaves with the Apom to wait for us to do this simple task. Follow after him, running from the Tangrowth, and find the man waiting here for you to bring the berries. But as soon as you walk to the left a bit, you're going to see the last person you'd expect to see here. Walking around to the south and up through a narrow path in the trees, you'll find Anna. She says what I said. She didn't expect us here. She apologizes for still being asleep on the other side. She's trying her best to wake up, but she says managing the timeline to make sure we beat Lynn took a toll on her. But she thinks it could have been a lot worse. Had she done more, she may not be around anymore at all. She's still confident in me to defeat Lynn for good. She'll heal my Pokemon now if I wish, knowing there's a lot of bad things from my memories here. Now you go north from her and the strange man, through a soaked landscape. You keep running from wild Pokemon, such as Magnezone, until eventually you see it, and realize the nightmares will continue. In the northwest, sitting by itself in an overgrown forest, is Pulse Tangrowth. You are dragged again into another battle against 5 Pokemon. But what Pulse Tangrowth will send out first aren't normal Pokemon. It sends out itself and Pulse Avalugg. There are 5 Pokemon in this battle. They are all Pulses. Here on Swamp Field, 2 unbelievably tanky Pokemon stand. Tangrowth 1, apparently named Susie, has Filter, while Avalugg has Solid Rock. Super effective hits mean little, so my Houndoom and Camerupt have little chance for success. They both attack first, but Tangrowth only loses half, Avalugg a quarter. Then Avalugg Precipice Blades both of them, and they both die. Then, as if knowing who I am and what I've done to win, Tangrowth uses Trick Room, and their speed lowers in the swamp. Vanillux is Sludge Waved and Heavy Slammed to death before he could attack them, and Hammer Arm still leaves Avalugg in yellow. Pangoro never attacks again. Shedinja barely does anything with Shadow Sneak and dies to Smackdown. Hail and Burn on the Tangrowth finally kills it, only to be replaced by its second successor, Cindy. Tangrowth 3. Alakazam is nothing in Trick Room. The next attempt, I know Trick Room is the end for me, but that means Vanillux can stop it from happening with Taunt. At the same time, Houndoom knows he can't win with damage. He can only win with a sacrifice. Precipice blades hit him, and only him, sparing Vanillux, and Avalugg is banished. The Forgotten Pulse is replaced by the Submerged Pulse. Swalot. Alakazam and Vanillux together can attack the Poison Grass Tangrowth, while the Water Poison Swalot with Water Absorb misses Alakazam and hits Vanillux with Muddy Water. Tangrowth 3 bursts into the fight again, Grass and Rock with Stamina. Alakazam tries to fight off the Swalot and Blizzard hits both, but they're both at half. Alakazam has traced Water Absorb from Swalot, letting its Muddy Water heal him, but Vanillux is hit by it and Rock Slide to faint. Shedinja tries to kill the Tangrowth with Leech Life, but its defense increases kept it alive, and Swalot also tanked another Psychic. Then they respond with Clear Smog and Rock Slide to kill us both. Pangoro and Camerupt take advantage of the 2 pulses sunken into the swamp to go first and kill them with Crunch and Earth Power, but one more pulse still remains. Mary Lou, Tangrowth 2, Grass Ground and Arena Trap. We attack it twice, but it won't die yet, and it Trick Rooms, but it's too late for it now. Bullet Punch puts it at the mercy of Hail to kill it, and it fails to kill Camerupt with Petal Blizzard. Lava Plume burns away Tangrowth 2. 5 pulses fought us at the same time, and we actually survived through it. The mutated creature vanishes from the machine, and we find a Nanab Berry. Only 2 left. Run fast to Anna to heal your wounded Pokemon, then head southeast. Before long, you'll approach another clearing, and before anything else, you'll spot it again. A Pulse Machine. This time, though, you will not have to fight an all-Pulse team. What you will have to fight, though, is something you've never fought before. You step forward towards the machine, and in it is Camerupt. Did you think that the Pulse Dex entry for it was for show? Did you think you'd never have to fight the Ghost Ground type with Sturdy and 1 HP? And most importantly, do you have the remote PC? Because allow me to show you why you should listen to Cass. You fight the Pulse Camerupt on New World. It has 1 HP and Sturdy. It will not die to conventional attacks. Do you want to use weather damage? You can't. This is New World. Do you want to use poison? You could try, but in this first turn, when my scrappy Pangoro bullet punched it in vain, it was after Whimsicott put up a prankster safeguard. No poison until that safeguard disappears. What if you poisoned it before the safeguard somehow? Pulse Camerupt is holding a Lum Berry. You will not kill Camerupt by poisoning it once. Vanillux begs for Hail to fall, but this barren space won't allow it. How do you defeat this invincible beast? There are ways to do it, but if you didn't have the remote PC, then more than likely you are trapped in this nightmare forever. In that first turn, I could have still defeated Camerupt had I done what I did the last time I faced the only Pulse we only fought once. I could have used Houndoom's Destiny Bond when he was killed by Camerupt's Earth Power, but I had another plan this time, because you may have questioned why, during the Hypno fight, I had a Pangoro that I have barely ever used. It's because Pangoro has another ability that I switched to on him for the next attempt, Mold Breaker. A bullet punch from that now kills Camerupt immediately. Houndoom's Flamethrower reduces the Whimsicott to cinders, and with the indestructible Pulse now destroyed, only 3 more support Pokemon remain, next being Klefki and Amoonguss. I tried to kill Amoonguss with Flamethrower while Bullet Punch did very little to Klefki, but the mushroom survived to spore Houndoom as Pangoro dies to Dazzling Gleam. Alakazam makes sure that Amoonguss does not get another chance to attack, and another dazzling gleam hurts us. The Pulse's last backup is Meowstic. Klefki gets melted when Houndoom wakes up, but even with a boosted Signal Beam, Meowstic lives to Dark Pulse Alakazam back and finish him. But the Meowstic is alone and far too outnumbered to stand up to us. The fight against another Pulse enemy is over. When it vanishes like the Tangrowth, it leaves behind a Nanab Berry too. Only one more to obtain, but after healing with Anna, as you begin walking southwest, the hairs on your neck will begin to stand on end, because you know what lay ahead of you. You know, with horror in your stomach, that there's only one logical conclusion. You know it to be true when you step towards another clearing and see another Pulse machine. But it is not the Pulse in the machine. It is Sigmund. I open my mouth to scream, but like always, no sound comes out. Ultimate horror reveals itself. The final berry, guarded by a team of 5 more Pulses, led by Pulse Mime on Glitchfield. The most terrifying Pulse first leads with Pulse Abra. Shedinja is out front, but Steel's Psychic Abra on Glitchfield means that only Leech Life will hurt it. Ghost attacks don't work on Psychic here. It matters not, as Shedinja is killed first by Blast Burn. A recharge move, but on Glitchfield, no recharge is necessary after a kill. When I attempt to bring in Houndoom to attack it with my own fire, instead, Pulse Mime appears. And then, when you look upon the nightmarish demon in front of you, remembering it has Wonder Guard when Flamethrower fails, you then remember next, its types are Dark Ghost. And then you remember next, on Glitchfield, fairy moves become normal type. Pulse Mime has no weaknesses. It cannot be hurt by direct attacks. What about Moldbreaker again? It's still Ghost type. Pangoro's attacks are Fighting, Steel, Dark, and Normal. On Glitchfield, that's Fighting, Normal, Normal, and Normal. None of those hit Mime either. What's even worse, Mime isn't averse to attacking anymore. It loves to use special attacks now, because its 190 special defense stat becomes its special attack stat as well on this field. But this turn, it chose to use Psycho Boost, but Houndoom is Dark type. That fails on him. We both did nothing that turn, and then Mime switches away again into Pulse Clawitzer, the actual Death Laser. Water Dragon type can take Flamethrower with ease, then heal all that damage away with leftovers. Then a horrible truth is discovered. Houndoom, even with Choice Scarf, is not faster than Pulse Clawitzer. Somehow, though, it can't kill Houndoom with a Draco Meteor. But it's too late to do anything now, because Clawitzer's ability is contrary. So those 2 special attack stage drops become raises. Houndoom dies to the next meteor. Even when Alakazam can survive a +4 meteor due to his own increased special defense from the field, his Psychic does nothing to the Pulse. My entire team is fodder to the cannon. I could not kill one enemy in that attempt. Next try, when Houndoom holds a Life Orb to attack Abra directly on the first turn, he takes a Frenzy Plant and then one-shots the Abra. But now Clawitzer is coming out immediately. What have I changed to stop it this time? I cannot possibly Destiny Bond this time, as it killed Houndoom immediately with Hydro Cannon. Vanillix appears and takes an Overheat, but lives, only for the outlook against Clawitzer to become clear. Freeze Dry crits the double weak Pulse, and it still took less than half. Vanillix dodges a Draco Meteor next turn to hit it again, but it's still alive. Vanillix is unable to attack again, then Pangoro comes out. He goes for Bullet Punch, but it remains alive. It kills Pangoro too, but we manage to barely beat that weapon of death with the hail. What should arrive next but Mime again? Camerupt sees it, then flees in terror for Shedinja. Mime attacked with Psycho Boost again, but it fails on the true owner of Wonder Guard. I need to hit Mime with Toxic, the only way I can possibly defeat this monstrosity. This fight is the reason I thought to add Toxic to my moveset during the first encounter with Pulse Mime in episode 19, but I know already that Mime is about to switch. I have to switch at the same time and hope my switch is better. Unfortunately, my switch to Camerupt is not good against Pulse Muck. The Protean mass of sludge will easily kill Camerupt with Giga Drain. His monumental special defense treated as special attack again. I then find that Shedinja cannot wall Muck either. It has Shadow Sneak. With only Alakazam left, there's no point in continuing. I can't defeat Clawitzer again like I just did. It won't happen. But what can I possibly do to kill it? I cannot outspeed it, so Destiny Bond can't be the play. I put Choice Scarf back on Houndoom for now, and try to figure out if I can kill Abra without being damaged. Now, Houndoom outspeeds, but he no longer one-shots. It's the same outcome, and Clawitzer is next. Camerupt needlessly dies to Hydro Cannon, and Houndoom comes out and dodges a Hydro Cannon. This lets Destiny Bond go up, and the next cannon obliterates Houndoom and Clawitzer is dragged back to the abyss. I put Vanillux in next, who I don't expect much from in this fight honestly, especially not against the last pulse in this fight, and in this horrible nightmare. Magnezone. Camerupt is already dead, so there's nothing to switch to. Vanillux, however, is lucky enough to dodge a Bolt Strike to taunt it. Lot of good that will do. He can survive a Bolt Strike straight out to Blizzard it, but it does little. Parabolic Charge from the first pulse ever created kills Vanillux and fully heals it. Pangoro is the only Pokemon that can hurt that thing, and he gets the chance when he also dodges a Bolt Strike, but Hammer Arm doesn't kill it. Bolt Strike next turn is strong enough to one-shot him. Alakazam can barely force the Magnezone down while tracing its Levitate, and Mime is back. The two Wonder Guards meet again, and Shedinja manages to Toxic it, while it's still only attacked with Psycho Boost, but it doesn't matter, because it can still switch with Muck, as Alakazam goes out against it. But even with a Psychic that hit its weakness before it Proteaned, it only did a third. Alakazam dodges a Fire Blast, but not a second one, barely doing half to Muck overall, and all I have left is Shedinja, who will simply die to Shadow Sneak. Houndoom must be saved for Clawitzer. So can Camerupt kill Abra? No. Prismatic Laser disintegrates him first. Shedinja can make Abra move because it is choiced, and Mime shows up. I Toxic it, as it chooses yet again to do nothing with Psycho Boost. Then we both switch. Pangoro comes out, only to meet Abra. What should I expect Pangoro and Hammer Arm to— Huh? Pangoro barely lived Blast Burn, and then is Hammer Arm killed? We appear to have found how to save Houndoom, but Shedinja meets the Clawitzer first. He switches into Houndoom, and we get a fortunate overheat to absorb with Flash Fire. I Destiny Bond, and we find the solution to Clawitzer. It uses Draco Meteor first, which doesn't kill Houndoom if Clawitzer isn't powered up yet. That lets him use Destiny Bond, and then die to the second Meteor. But we still don't have a chance against Muck. Shedinja pops in, then pops out to Alakazam to let Shadow Sneak not affect Psychic. There's still nothing Alakazam can do to Muck. Psychic bounces off the miserable pile, and Fire Blast incinerates Alakazam. We still cannot beat Muck. Something has to change. All I can think to change so far is to bring Greninja instead of Vanillix. I will mirror both Wonder Guard and Protean. Camerupt still died to Abra, as we Toxic Mime with the switching gambit. Then, we know Mime switches to Abra again. I switch to Houndoom at the same time. I can kill it like before, but I've ruined my chance to beat Clawitzer. Hydro Cannon will kill Houndoom when he's injured. Pangoro can survive an attack to hit with Hammer Arm, but it's far from killing. I cannot beat Clawitzer any other way but Destiny Bond. I fail to understand this on the next attempt, then I reset in the middle of preparations so my counter is off by 1 now. But now, Pangoro leads with Camerupt and Vanillix replaced by Greninja and Heracross. Pangoro once again survives a Blast Burn to one-shot with Hammer Arm. Pangoro dies to Life Orb, and I switch blindly into Houndoom. This gets me the Clawitzer as I need. Now I need both Draco Meteors to hit back-to-back to Destiny Bond it. That happens, and now I have to blind switch again. I put in Alakazam, only for Magnezone to be thrown at me again. Alakazam is also bad on Glitch Field because the move that would be great for Magnezone if he had it, Focus Blast, is worthless because all fighting moves use the attack stat on Glitch Field, and Alakazam has terrible attack. As such, he barely hurts Magnezone, feinting to let Heracross come in to pulverize the pulse that began all of this nightmare. Mime shows up again, but Shedinja fails to poison it before it's going to switch into the Infernal Muck again. Even now, I still don't know what to do about Muck. It has little physical defense, but poison isn't something Heracross can hit well. Instead, I go to Greninja, who uses extra sensory for poor damage. This was to get away from Water type against Muck's Giga Drain. It still killed Greninja anyway. I thought this was my way to then crush the Muck with Mega Horn. It used Shadow Sneak first, making the damage terrible now. The damage was terrible because Mega Horn missed anyway. Heracross is fast enough to then attack with Shadow Claw, super effective against it right now, but Muck lives that too, killing with Giga Drain. Shedinja tries to Shadow Sneak to win, but cannot, and dies to the same move. There's RNG in this nightmare too. Pangoro sometimes dies to Blast Burn on a range. RNG goes the other way too. On the attempt after, Pangoro dodges Blast Burn, so he's alive after killing Abra. Instead of Clawitzer now, it's Magnezone. But more despair befalls me as close combat from Heracross does not kill Magnezone from full HP. Greninja surfs away Magnezone, Mime is poisoned then runs away again, and Clawitzer and Houndoom do the same dance of death. Muck still remains, and Alakazam only does a quarter with Psychic before dying to Fire Blast. That Fire Blast opened it up for Greninja to attack with Surf, and a crit Surf on a weakness does a quarter. Muck gains all that back and more with Giga Drain. Muck interrupts the incoming Hammer Arm from Pangoro with Shadow Sneak, then Giga Drains him away too. All these pulses, all these monsters, each one so difficult to overcome one at a time. Yet I must overcome them all at once. The 10th attempt at this battle, the Lavender Town music invading my mind permanently. Pangoro misses Hammer Arm, but Frenzy Plant is a recharge move, so Pangoro still kills Abra and has 1 HP left. Heracross does most of the job against Magnezone, and Greninja finishes it. Shedinja poisons Mime, who still only uses Psycho Boost on it. Houndoom manages to get struck by 2 Draco Meteors to Destiny Bond the Clawitzer. A 1 HP Pangoro bullet punches Muck for 20% damage and dies before Shadow Sneak could hit him. Shedinja then goes out to attack that Ghost type with Shadow Sneak, doing a great amount. Then, Alakazam finds the last crucial piece of luck. He hits Muck with Psychic to bring it to red, then Muck missed a Fire Blast. The next Psychic should have finished it, but it was left on a sliver of HP that should be invisible. I knew that Greninja could beat that no matter what, but instead, Muck revealed its last move then. Explosion. That means there's only Pulse Mime left against Greninja, and this means I have finally won this horrible fight. Why? Because the Pulse Mime is already poisoned, and I will finally reveal the one single, solitary mercy that was designed into this fight. Mime isn't choosing to use Psycho Boost every single time it attacked. That's its only move. This fight could have given Mime moves that would have allowed it to hit any type. Instead, it was only given a single move, and because of that, Greninja Being dark type and having dark pulse cannot be harmed by pulse mine, and it will die to toxic damage. And finally, after 10 attempts, after 2 attempts against the never before seen Camerupt, after 2 attempts at the Swamp Pulses, and after 20 attempts against the Pulse Hypno, we have finally defeated every pulse that Meteor created in some of the most horrific battles in this entire game. The last time I had to face the terror of Pulse Mime, I had brought Houndoom in here horribly underleveled. My team used Trick Room in this fight, which would have made Clawitzer more doable, but then I found that Mime could not hit Houndoom at all. So the Pokemon that I brought expressly to die for Destiny Bond instead survived this fight using Toxic. No matter what, Pulse Mime 2 was just as bad as the first encounter. With this ordeal finally over, we obtained the last Nanab Berry. It's time to give these 3 Nanab Berries to the man and leave this cursed place. He comments how exhausted I look, asking how hard it could be to find a few berries. Anyway, he asks for them now, so I reach into my pack and... No, where are they? Where are any of my items? He's disappointed in me, and says finding 3 common berries should be simple. He knows now that I'm not who he's looking for, but says I should get back to my search. No, I fought those abominations already. I had the berries. But then he says that my reaction isn't that entertaining. What? He had the berries the whole time. Then why did I fight those monsters again? He's more disappointed at my reaction to this reveal, but he's a man of his word. He's going to show me the way out. All I have to do is head north, and I will be released from this dream. He says that he doesn't find this encounter that fulfilling, and that we'll never see each other again. I run for the exit to the north, and find a door. I can leave. No, this can't be. We head north and find the man again. The dream has started over, until he then speaks more. He's not yet ready to let us go. He finally introduces himself. His name is Shiv. He asks for my name. My name is Lin. What? The reason I'm still here is because, though he is a man of his word, he thought of something. He wanted to battle me. He thinks that after the 3 battles I already did, there were 4, he should be no problem. He says that I don't have a choice. Just talk to him when I'm ready. When I speak to him, he says he doesn't know why I would bother preparing. After all, it won't make the slightest difference. Shiv leads this fight with Roserade. To my Pangoro is level 1. My whole team is level 1. What is going on? Where are my Pokemon? Where are my items? I cannot win. It is impossible to beat this team. They are a team of level 130s to my level 1s. I can't beat Shiv. He admits after I lose that the battle was tipped out of my favor, but he says he didn't lie. No amount of preparation would matter in the slightest. He doesn't get many chances to have fun with a peculiar trainer like... What? I am Lin? The dream started over again. Shiv is ready to battle again, but then says that even after beating me, the fact that I'm still here makes him curious. He decides it's time to stop messing with me. He admits now that he may have been too cruel to put me through this ordeal for so long. He wants to make it up to me, so he figures he'll give me a Pokemon. He could give us pretty much any Pokemon, but he settles on one from the dream to help me keep him in my thoughts. Something stronger than me, with cunning, and Shiv says the quiet part out loud. He'll give me a Darkrai. I obtained Darkrai. I put it into my party right away. With this, he decides it's time to send me home. He suspects we'll never see him again. Finally, after this gut-wrenching terror, the quest is over and we have obtained Darkrai. Let's return to the nightclub. Hey, there's a single new quest available from Smeargle. He tells us on his whiteboard that something has popped up in the stinky water place below the city. So, something in the water treatment plant? Let's go there really quick. We can head through 7th Street to reach the water treatment plant, and if you go to the central turbine room, you'll see the screen has a strange pulsing light on it on the northeastern room. Going through the plant to the top of that room, we find another New World door. We enter it, but where we end up is far from new. We are on Barrow Bridge, and standing before us, cloaked in an umbral aura, is Corey. Corey? You're here? How? Is all death reversible with the new world? Corey begins to speak, greeting us, knowing who I am still, Oildrum. He then asks if Heather is well as me. You're not nearly the same Corey I knew. He makes it clear to me that he died, but that Shade maintained a small part of him. It wasn't meant to mean anything until the new world opened, and then that small part became him now. Corey knows we've been helping people and Pokemon, saying he never got the chance to encounter us until now. He wanted to find us, to apologize. He makes it clear that I am not responsible for the actions he took in his darkest hour. He then goes on to ask about how we met his wife, Elena. When he lost her, his world ended. He speaks his total love and admiration of her unstoppable nature, and her joy in everything she did. She was so hopeful for the future, and Corey says he can see Reborn healing, with its finest champion in me. But he goes on to mention how Elena believed he would become champion. He says, though, when he lost her, he gave up trying. But while wandering the new world, he's trying again, and says for as much as she believed in him, Corey has to believe in himself too. He wants to duel us now, to see if he really could be the champion she wanted him to be. A fair fight, with no rage, murderous intent, or despair. He challenges me as champion to see if I could have become champion had he gotten to it first. The battle begins, unbelievably, against Umbral Corey. The rival theme plays triumphantly as Corey leads with a Pokemon fully evolved from when we saw him use it against us before, Nidoqueen. On this fieldless fight in the rain, Houndoom might as well Destiny Bond it, which works thanks to its Earth power. I switch into Slowbro now for a typical Trick Room fight, coming up against Skuntank next. It tried to Sucker Punch, failing, and Trick Room begins. With Psychic not an option for this Poison Dark type, I hit with Blizzard once for bad damage before being swaggered. In that case, time to switch to Camerupt. This gives me another Sucker Punch whiff, but speaking of whiff, I then throw away Tectonic Rage as Skuntank switches for Corey's ace, Crobat. When I go for Rock Slide after and see it do a third, I expect to lose to the following Brave Bird. But Camerupt survived at 3 HP, so he could throw more rocks at the bat. Holy fuck, the flinch! Crobat goes down to Camerupt after all! But with Skuntank coming back out to Camerupt, I know it's going to use Sucker Punch. It shows it to Vanillix instead, as I then stupidly misclick for Freeze Dry. I don't want Vanillix to die to another Sucker Punch, so I go to Slowbro to make it fail. Skuntank used Fire Blast, but that does poor damage to Slowbro. Sucker Punch was its move choice next turn though, but I laugh as a second Trick Room starts. By now, the Hail will kill Skuntank anyway, so I decide to let Camerupt take the hit to save my other Pokemon. Turns out I could have gone to anyone but him, as it was Sucker Punch again. And sadly, Camerupt still faints to Hail. Out next is a Pokemon I know had Sucker Punch before, as Corey evolved his Croagunk into Toxicroak. Vanillux met it and used Blizzard, but he was doomed to fall to Drain Punch and refill Toxicroak's HP. Slowbro is the obvious pick, and of course, Sucker Punch is the obvious counter, but she lived it to Psychic back and beat it easily. Dragalge is next, yet again an evolution of his original team, but Drampa comes out and fires Dragon Pulse. It sadly fell short of the kill, thanks once again to the Umbral Pulse 2 defenses it wouldn't otherwise have. Drampa dies to Draco Meteor, and Mawile attempts to come in and beat it with Sucker Punch. It runs away before that, or Hail kills it, leaving Corey's last full HP and now evolved Pokemon to finish the fight. Toxapex. This is not great for Mawile, so I decide to start up Swords Dance. It hits Scald for a third of her HP, then on the second one, it burned her. That's bad. I lost a lot of my new attack power for that, but a 4-attack stage Sucker Punch is thrown. It's far away from a kill, and Mawile faints. I only have one left, which is Slowbro. This is tough, but since Dragalge is still alive, I decide Trick Room is still needed. I picked the best turn for that, as it went for Baneful Bunker. Psychic next turn though was not enough, and of course it recovered. No, don't do this to me so close to the end. It also has a Black Sludge to Leftovers heal, as it uses more bunkers to stall. However, on the next Psychic, I get what I need. A special defense drop. Slowbro got burned by Scald, but after another bunker stall turn, Slowbro fires Psychic before it could go and beats Toxapex. Even though that single Pokemon took so many turns, it wasn't enough to run out Trick Room, so Slowbro can then take the last drop of HP from Dragalge and win. Holy shit, what a nail-biting finish. It was a first try for me, but Corey proved that he really had the potential to be a worthy champion. He compliments me, but says not to get comfortable. He's going to get all the badges and challenge me officially. But then we lose it. The Umbra Aura, which usually brought out the worst in a person, had been bringing out the best in Corey. But now, it fades, like it always does when we battle someone with the aura. When it disappears, the Corey that remains is the one that we had first met. He asks if I came to kill him again. I didn't. If I'm still trying to poison his daughter's mind against him. He accuses me of making everything more dangerous here, and then pins the deaths of him, Solaris, and Ace, along with many other grunts, on Meteor getting desperate because of me. He says how he was poison to those around him, but I'm poison to everything. He won't let me have this victory. One will always be gone. He then jumps upon the wall again, as horror and helplessness wells up inside me. Corey, don't do this again! What happened? I suddenly wake up in Peridot Ward, like I did when I first came to Reborn, like when I came back to Reborn. It's Adrian who wakes us now. They guess I had a lot of trouble on the last excursion. Which one was last? Is it over? I was apparently stuck in a bad dream. They're relieved I'm back, though, worried about either of us disappearing like they had already before. Adrian says we should rest and return to the nightclub when we want. They'll and everyone will support me. Not everyone. Eventually, I return to the nightclub, and we can bring this episode to an end. Where is everyone? What? No! Lynn? But you're not real! Adrian is the only one here who screams how I already defeated this Lynn. The Lynn we know to be a doll only speaks the words she said at Titania's gym, not noticing Adrian. Adrian, you need to... No! What? Where? Luna? I'm suddenly back in the void, as Luna tells me that I've been trapped in a dream. All this time, still trapped in the same horrible nightmare. She says she will protect me and lead me out of this. She says it will be a long road, but if I follow her, I'll escape. I run to the south after her, as she stops and mentions that the enemy is trying even now to get at me, but she will shield us as long as we stay on this path. Another period of walking. She stops and apologizes. This is such a long journey, but it's the only way. We walk and walk and walk. Luna doesn't speak. She only walks away from me. Walk, walk, walk. This isn't right. No, something's wrong. I run away. But Luna approaches me again, asking what is the matter. Am I afraid? Do I not trust her? Or have I already noticed? And that's when Shiv appears behind me. Now Shiv is delighted at my expression, wondering why I'm surprised to see him again. Because the truth is, he never let me leave. He has yet to truly test me. But you gave me the Darkrai. I have it right. No, I never got the Darkrai. I'm still not awake. However, he's seemingly inspired how I don't give up, even in the face of this horrendous nightmare. He says, though, despite my resourcefulness, his master has deemed I am still not the trainer sought after. He decides now, though, that he's done toying with me. He wants us to have a proper battle. I still have no choice. This is still my nightmare. Now the battle begins against Shiv again, but this time my Houndoom comes out to his same Roserade, and Houndoom is at level 130, like his Pokemon. This time, I can fight this stranger with my actual power. Unfortunately, all the levels in the world don't kill a Focus Sash Roserade in one flamethrower, and its Nature Power Moonblast kills Houndoom in return. I then make a horrible mistake and try Sucker Punching the Roserade, but it fails. That's because Nature Power is classified as a status move like I said at the beginning of the video, and the Moonblast from it almost does half to Mawile. She nearly faints to the next one as Ironhead beats the Masked Flower, and now Shiv will send out Gyarados. I tried to have Slowbro Trick Room against it, but it was prepared with Black Hole Eclipse. Slowbro is gone from existence, and my chances are going with her. Vanillix comes out though and can trick Gyarados. It thinks that ice won't kill it, so it Dragon Dances, but it didn't see Freeze Dry coming, and it dies. With no Trick Room to rely on, the chance of winning seems bad, especially as Metagross is out next. Horribly, Mawile can't even Sucker Punch because Mega Metagross's Bullet Punch went first. Camerupt is hit with Earthquake and crushed first, and Drampa takes a Meteor Mash for a lot of damage. He gets enraged by this and kills the Metagross with Flamethrower. And next comes Weavile. Like I needed any other sign that this is over. Vanillix tries to battle it, but with only Blizzard, his damage is far worse than its Night Slash. Of course, when Vanillix faints, I know what Drampa is going to be hit by. Ice Shard. I must beat Shiv to escape. I cannot leave this nightmare until I do. Houndoom can't kill Roserade first, but he can kill it at the same time. Destiny Bond takes us both out, and I move to Slowbro, even though I know she could be one-shot by Gyarados. When Weavile comes out, I'm pretty sure she'll die to that too. The reason why it was guaranteed was the Dark Gem it was holding, and Slowbro is gone again. Mawile has typically been great against Weavile, but when she goes out to fight it, it lets Megagross handle this. Mawile hits it with Iron Head for little, but manages to Sucker Punch first. However, because of the extra fairy typing on dark moves from Starlight Arena, the punch doesn't kill Metagross, and Mawile is knocked out. I threw Vanillix out in front of the bus to start Hail, even though it would take more than one turn to kill it with Hail. In fact, it would take 3, and my team cannot win anymore. I forget about Focus Sash on the next attempt, forcing Mawile to take damage from Roserade. I had done this to make sure Gyarados came out again, so I could try looking for a Pokemon to Trick Room in front of. But then Mawile got crit. Next attempt I tried doing the same thing, only to suddenly be shocked when Houndoom lived Moonblast. He follows up for the kill, and now Weavile wants really badly to kill with Ice Shard. I put Mawile out in front expressly to deal with it, But yet again, even though it didn't take a turn yet, it still bounced right to Metagross. Mawile falls the same way, but I decide Metagross may not be able to kill Slowbro. Here goes. Meteor Mash comes in. Slowbro survived! With Trick Room, I thought she'd survive Bullet Punch, which she does, but it crit to really hurt her. Metagross is down. Here we go with Weavile again. Best chance is definitely Camerupt since Drampa is weak to Ice Shard. It does that move to my Camel for a third and is melted by Lava Plume. Gyarados next is even more free with Vanillux, and we finally reach another new Pokemon. But this is one that we already knew about. Not the Charizard from the hellish level 1 version of this fight. Aipom. But before you go laughing at an Aipom being in a high-leveled battle, let me show you these stats. Aipom has 1,000 EVs in HP, 1,200 in attack, and still a full-speed EV to boot. What the fuck? Yeah, don't fuck with this thing. It's the worst thing on Shiv's team. Unfortunately, Houndoom was still too fast for it in Trick Room, so his 7 HP is beaten with Knockoff before a sweet Destiny Bond could go off. But Drampa's Hyper Voice proves that even that extra 750 HP EVs didn't give it that much more room to play. It's down in red, and though its Knockoff killed Drampa, Vanillux can Blizzard it down, leaving us with one more Pokemon. As I said already, it's that Charizard. All I need, Camerupt, is for you to please not miss this rock slide for the love of God. Yes, I did it. I defeated Shiv. And this is finally over now, right? No. Shiv is surprised at the control I still have in this dream world. He wonders if I'm not the trainer his master seeks, then who is? Now, as the man of his word, he finally will let me return to my world. Except the true Dark Master still waits for me. We will not see each other again. This time, he means it. Suddenly, I'm in another room with a door to my back. Ahead of me is a light shard. Still, I must fight my way out. For at the end of this nightmare, of course, there can only be a single opponent waiting. Anomaly Darkrai. The Master of Nightmares enters the fray from the start, along with a Breloom. My first turn goes horribly, as Spatial Rend emits from Darkrai to one-shot Houndoom before he could go. Drampa, meanwhile, is treated to Darkrai's favorite thing to do by the Breloom, Spore. Now, Darkrai's bad dreams start to harm Drampa. How can I possibly put Slowbro out in front of that? I try putting Camerupt there, but that's pointless. He dies to Dark Pulse from Darkrai first. But Drampa suddenly awakened fast as he could and bellowed at them, nearly killing both of them. But when Mawile comes out and attempts Sucker Punch against the Breloom, I lose all of my lead again. Drampa is destroyed by Spatial Rend, and Mawile's Sucker Punch failed because Spore was coming again. Vanillux isn't allowed to attack either, being put to sleep after suffering a lot of damage. But next turn, Mawile awakens to Sucker Punch Darkrai and beat it, while Vanillux was decked by Drain Punch. But even in this fight, the nightmare never ends. To replace Darkrai is Darkrai. This Darkrai decides to use a seed to gain 5 stat stages and recharge, but instead of trying to Trick Room, Slowbro, who wasn't put to sleep by Breloom, Shadow Balled for nearly nothing. Why did I do that? Have I lost hope? The attempt quickly ends as Darkrai's attack finishes off Slowbro and Mawile. There's no way we win this with a Trick Room team. I must have real speed. Talonflame, Heracross, and Greninja take the places of Camerupt, Slowbro, and Drampa. Heracross and Talonflame go up front. Gale Wing's obviously chopping down the Breloom instantly. However, Talonflame is quickly defeated by Dark Pulse, but Darkrai feels my vengeance as Heracross pummels it with close combat for a third one-shot this turn. The second Darkrai comes out, along with Pirouette Meloetta. However, they both chose to use Seeds, making them completely open this turn. Their increased defenses don't protect them from close combat and play rough, and they both faint, but horribly. Once more, we must overcome a nightmare. Because alongside a Mega Sableye, Darkrai sends out Pulse Hypno. But you didn't reckon with this Mega Horn. It one-shots the Pulse. Play Rough hits the Pokemon typed like Pulse Mime, and it dies. That's it. We defeated Darkrai. Even when it drew on my most horrible memories once more, it was not enough to beat me. Now it's time to catch this thing. For real. However, it proved to be a complete bastard, and it resisted capture by all of the glitter balls I threw. My entire team was whittled down to one, so I gave it a Reborn ball. I put the Darkrai into my party, and this time, it is here. Its shiny form gives it a violet tinge, very appropriate for such a shadowy Pokemon. And now, it's over. It's finally... What? No, it can't be! Why am I back here? I escaped this! I beat everything! No, I didn't. There's still another fight I haven't beaten. But it's impossible! How can... Wait, this team. Maybe this can work. I haven't done one of these in a long time, but let me do a full team rundown for the most unfair fight in the entire game. Let me make it clear again what it is this game put in front of you. The game sets your team to level 1 and steals all the items in your bag. You have to beat Shiv's same team we just saw a few minutes ago, even though they are all level 130. You might think this is completely absurd, and yes, it is. However, I know all of you who have played this game are thinking I had to have tried to win. I absolutely did not in my last file, but this time, I tried. Here's what I came up with. First, the Pokemon that you know already, Houndoom. You know what single move Houndoom has that will do anything. Destiny Bond. Of course, no amount of speed will be enough here. All stats are worthless. Everything must be done with your movesets, abilities, and held items. Know this. You have to put items on before you talk to Shiv to give him the berries after you defeat all 3 of the Pulse rematch fights. Your entire bag is emptied after that. So of course, the only way Houndoom throws a Destiny Bond is with a Focus Sash. Doing that very same thing is another Pokemon you've already seen me use, Aegislash. Focus Sash, Destiny Bond. Enough said. But we have one more Destiny Bonder. A new Pokemon. And it doesn't need the Focus Sash. It has something just as good. Mimikyu. No item needed. Just let something massacre her disguise, and she Destiny Bonds it just the same. However, you should know of course that I do not win with 6 Destiny Bonds. I need something to be alive at the end to win. And now we come to the other reason why Pangoro is here. I originally prepared Pangoro only for this fight, giving him Scrappy, Endeavor, Bullet Punch, and Focus Sash. However, I repurposed him for Pulse Camera Up to use Mold Breaker too, hence why I lost the first attempt since I forgot to change the ability again. Now, he's a Fear Pangoro. He will get slammed down to 1 HP to activate Focus Sash, Endeavor, even against Ghost types because of Scrappy, then kill with Bullet Punch. It only works once though. But if you wanted a repeatable Fear strat, then you should already know what Pokemon can do that. After all, Textless Terra used it against us already. Donphan. Sturdy, Ice Shard, Endeavor, Shell Bell. When she hits a level 130 with Endeavor at 1 HP, she'll go back to full HP, activating Sturdy again. This is my frontline offense. If she can take out even one thing for me, especially 2, then we have a great chance. But I wanted one other method of attack. Not Destiny Bond, not Fear. I went with Prankster Perish Song on Murkrow. It is also holding a Focus Sash though, because we need to milk turns if we are against the last Pokemon and using Perish Song. For that reason, every Pokemon on this team also has a Protect move to stall out turns. In the face of the most horrible challenge of this nightmare, I have hopes this can actually win. However, if Shiv's team has Hail or Sandstorm, multi-hit moves, or leftovers, then our chance becomes extremely slim. Forced to have the name Lin again, I battle against Shiv with all of the world against me. I'm very scared up front with Donphan if this will even work at all. Roserade attacks with Giga Drain. Donphan sturdies, then endeavors. She heals completely with the Shell Bell. Now the moment of truth. Leftovers? No. Priority move? No. Roserade dies to Ice Shard. We did it. We got one. And Donphan gains 46,000 experience. Wait, what? Oh. Now comes a wrinkle in this plan that I did not see coming. And also, a bug. The EXP All is no longer in my bag. However, it is still active, and my entire team also gained experience even though I don't possess the EXP All right now. So I spend the next 5 minutes telling them all to stop trying to learn new moves. When they finally stop asking me about crappy pre-level 40 moves, Shiv is ready to send out Charizard. I leave Donphan out there, and even at level 35, she obviously still goes down to 1 HP from the first attack. However, because she is at level 135 now, her Endeavor Shell Bell combo no longer fully heals her. She does still beat Charizard, giving us a 2 Pokemon lead, but Donphan cannot be used again. After a bunch more level ups, I have to fight Weavile now. I don't want to use Pangoro yet. It would be optimal to use him second to last so that Perish Song can definitely kill the last opponent. Mimikyu goes out to Weavile instead. Weavile is not susceptible to the Fear Strat anyway because of its Ice Shard. However, it can only break Mimikyu's disguise while watching it set up Destiny Bond. A second Ice Shard is enough to kill level 33 Mimikyu, and Weavile is done. However, now I have to blind switch, and I have no idea what to do. I decide my best bet is to hope for a way to do the Fear Strat with Pangoro. Out comes Metagross, which I know has Bullet Punch, but for some unbelievable reason, after it put me to 1 and became Endeavored, the Metagross did not use its priority move, and died to mine! That's great, but now we have no more Fear Strat. It's all attrition at this point. There are only 2 left. The one Shiv sends out now is Gyarados. I put Aegislash in front of it, she Focus Sashes the Earthquake, Destiny Bonds, and... No, it used Dragon Dance. It knew. It knew how to play around Destiny Bond. That's horrible. And it wasn't lucky. I withdrew Aegislash to sack Pangoro and tried again with Houndoom. The same thing occurred. We lose this. And now I know I must kill Gyarados with an application of fear. Strangely enough, when I weakly went for Perish Song against Gyarados knowing it was over anyway, it didn't switch out on its final turn, so it died. It brought it to the final Pokemon that overbuffed Apom. And that's when it killed Murkrow with something I didn't want to see. Tail Slap. Fuck no. That's going to ruin everything. Literally, Prankster Perish Song is my only hope, but we have to see if we get that far. I reset and turn off the EXP All before my bag is stolen, then we try again. Roserade is beaten by Donphan the same way, getting Charizard next. Aegislash Destiny Bonds that one, since I know I have to save a fear for Gyarados. I have to pick something blind, and I go back to Donphan, but that gets Weavile again. I can't do the strat to it. Donphan has to die unfortunately, and Mimikyu takes out Weavile's last HP with her entire life bar. Have to hold out Pangoro, so Houndoom goes. Metagross kills him and dies to Destiny Bond too. Now I desperately need Shiv to send Gyarados. If Apom comes first, I can't win. It's Gyarados! Pangoro successfully fears it down, avoiding a flinch from Waterfall. The only Pokemon left is Apom, and I have to survive 3 turns with it. Murkrow goes out and sings the Perish Song, but Tail Slap connects and kills Murkrow even though it held a Focus Sash. Apom's count is at 3, and Pangoro has Protect. Sadly, I need unbelievable luck to win now. After the first Protect, I need to chain 2 more together to win, but it fails on the second try. It's over. Unless Apom misses Tail Slap! The Tail Slap miss of ages! Pangoro protects easily to guard against Tail Slap one more time, and Apom dies. I did it! I have broken free of the nightmare. Even with a team of level 1s against 130s, I overcame the impossible fight. I cannot believe that was how I won. That was wild and unreasonably dramatic. Shiv is obviously surprised that happened, saying it certainly shouldn't have. However, other than those few different bits of dialogue, this is all the reward you get for beating something that bullshit. At least I proved that it was possible. Now we can return to the nightclub, and this time, the nightmare is really over. Now that I don't have to play up the drama anymore, time for a few last words about that quest. The Darkrai quest, as you could tell from this episode and how I've hyped it up literally from the first episode of this series, was one of the most horrifying and brutal parts of this game for me. I have dreaded coming back to it, especially for the fact that I knew I had to try to beat the level 1 fight. I had my plan. I figured I could do it with enough effort, but I was still scared. Never mind that either. I knew the Pulse rematches were going to be hideous. I'm amazed that I beat Tangros +2 and the Camerupt in 2 tries each, but Hypno and Mime taking a total of 30 attempts is pretty much exactly what I expected. I will say though, like I have for other parts of the game, that this soul-crushing quest does something very well, from baiting you with Umbral Corey to fake killing Adrian. You aren't ever going to forget this quest. It may be the most cruel, but it is among the best even so. That leads me to discussing one more aspect of the quest, the one I'm sure many of you are dying to hear me mention. Who was Shiv? Just like Flora, Shiv comes from a fellow Pokemon fan game to Reborn, Pokemon Desolation. And once again, all of my same points about Rejuvenation apply to Desolation. I have not played it, I am not planning to, unless I change my mind, which will only happen at the very earliest when Desolation is completed. As of this writing, Desolation has been completed up through 8 badges. If there are only 8 badges in the game, like a typical Pokemon game, then it may be close to completion. If it has 18 badges like Reborn, then it will be a very long time before that game is completed. I have a message to Desolation, Rejuvenation, and any other teams of fan or indie games. Don't be discouraged. Know that your work is extremely appreciated, and that you are doing a great job. Don't give it up. No matter how long it takes, people will be waiting for you, and ready to play your work. Make sure it comes out to be the best it can ever be. And with that, this episode, the roller coaster that it was, is finished, and the level cap has become 135. Though there won't be a quest nearly as story scary as the Darkrai quest, trust me, in terms of battles, the most horrible quests are still in front of us.
And the Pulse Project now only exists in our nightmares.